This is the Vaguely Nerdy Podcast, where every week this brother-sister duo gets together to discuss the box office, latest film and TV scoops, along with our latest movie or show review, and what we're getting into next. We are your host,
Cheryl.
And Jay.
Okay, so I have a quick trivia for the movie The Burial that we watched this week.
Okay.
You're probably going to guess it in 2 seconds flat, but here we go. Which character in the movie was made up?
Which character in the movie was made up?
Didn't exist. Not a real person.
Outside of Jamie Foxx and
those two are
Tommy
real.
Lee Jones, those two, anybody could be made up. Journey Smollett's character?
Bing, 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 bing.
Oh, okay.
Yes, so I did a little research after we watched the movie, and the all-black lawyers for the company, that was true, but the director, who's a black woman, decided to change the lead lawyer for that side to be a woman. So her character did not exist.
Nice.
All right, which might explain. Anyway, we'll get to it. All right, so now we'll jump into our episode.
Welcome, fellow movie buffs. I'm Jay.
I'm Cheryl.
Listen in as we break down movie and TV shows, tell you what's in the plot, and hear if we think you should have watched it when you had the chance.
Dun, dun, dun.
Okay, so we have a couple trailers this week to talk about. Not too many, but we did get a couple things introduced to us while the actor strike is still ongoing.
They're talking this weekend, though.
Mm-hmm.
They're talking this weekend. The AMPTP said they're sending their last and final offer, which is silly because you need actors. So obviously this wouldn't be the last offer. But maybe by the time this episode comes out on Monday, the strike will be over. Crossing our fingers.
The majority of our episode is going to be us going over a big Variety article that came out that highlighted and outlined a lot of the Marvel behind the scenes issues that have been taking place pretty much for this past entire phase of movies and shows. So we're going to dive into the information that came out of that and speculate on what sounds to be true, what sounds to be sketchy, and maybe a little bit of opinion on how we think Marvel can do some course correcting.
There we go.
And then we will wrap up the episode with our movie review of the week, which is The Burial on Amazon Prime.
Sweet. All right. First trailer we have up is Kingdom of the Planet of... There are 2 ofs in the title of this movie.
Yeah.
Interesting. Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. It will be coming out in theaters May 24th next year, 2024. And it is a sequel. I didn't know this, and I probably should have. This is a sequel to War of the Planet of the Apes.
Yeah, they're all sequels. I think this is like the 4th one.
So you're going to have to help me out with this one. So in the trailer, let's talk about the trailer briefly.
Okay.
The trailer is about the descendants of Caesar. Yes. Is this who these monkeys are?
I think these monkeys are descendants of Caesar because I think Caesar died in the last one.
Did he?
I feel like he did.
We don't know. So I don't remember because we're going to get into that in a second. But the trailer is basically about, looks like there's going to be a fight between the different ape tribes in this particular movie. Humans are in it, but they are definitely regulated to be the animals of this movie. So It's a little, everybody knows Planet of the Apes and how that works. So it's a little reversed there. So the cast list, as far as I know, I looked it up and I didn't see anybody super notable as far as voice acting for this movie. I think they're riding a wave of this being a part of the Apes franchise, and they didn't really hire any super, like A-list voice actors. Yeah,
there are no A-list actors, whether they be voice actors or the few humans that are in this. I mean, there's William H. Macy. He's the highest A-list Fargo.
Oh, I know who he is. I was trying to figure out who he might have been in the trailer.
I didn't see him in the trailer, so I'm assuming he's one of the apes, but none of their voices in the trailer were distinct enough.
Correct.
So I can't really tell if he's one of the apes, if he's an orangutan, or...
So this is a sequel to War of the Planet of the Apes, which had James Franco and Caesar.
No, that was the very first one, which was Rise of the Planet of the Apes. It had Caesar. James Franco never came back after the first movie.
So there are, how many movies am I missing in between these?
I believe this is 4.
Okay, the original was James Franco and Caesar.
This is either 4 or 5.
Oh, wow. I didn't realize it was that many. I might have to go back and do a rewatch of all of these to catch up. I got time.
I mean...
Or no, you don't think so? You don't think...
So there's Rise of the Planet of the Apes that came out in 2011. Dawn of the Planet of the Apes came out in 2014. War for the Planet of the Apes came out in 2017.
War of the Planet of the Apes then.
It wasn't really a good one.
I'm looking it up to see what?
Yeah.
I remember the poster. Okay, the poster is... Oh, Matt Reeves directed this one though.
Yeah, I mean, none of them are bad.
Okay.
But that wasn't like the best one
okay.
out of the previous 3. But it was the last Caesar one. That was the end of the Caesar trilogy.
This is okay. So the ones that I'm remembering are Andy Serkis, whereas he plays Caesar. And if you don't know who Andy Serkis is, for those, that is Gollum, Smeagol from Lord of the Rings. I mean, he's been in other stuff, but I think that's what he's most popular for. And they were directed by Matt Reeves. Okay, Matt Reeves is who directed the Batman. Okay. It's coming back a little bit, but I think because they haven't been, there's a nice little gap in between these, my brain's a little fuzzy. But everybody seemed excited about it on Twitter, about the trailer. It looks fine.
Yeah, I mean, it looks...
it reminds me of something, though.
It reminds me of Star Wars. It has the Star Wars music. Yeah. Because
you kind of got like the light side and the dark side.
It has the new trilogy Star Wars music playing in the background of it, not original recipe Star Wars.
Okay. Will we put this on the list to review? I think it'll be big. It's
movie. Planet of the Apes movies. Planet of the Apes movies make a lot of money. What was it? Dawn of the Planet of the Apes, which was the second one in the trilogy, had a budget of $170 million. It made $710.
Ooh, yeah.
So they all make They all make money. War of the Planet of the Apes had a much smaller return. It had a budget of $150. It had a box office of $490.
That's the third one.
Right.
Okay, so they might have kind of wore out their welcome a little bit with the third one, but it's been a little bit of a gap.
Yeah.
So people are at least probably like, oh, okay, let me get back on the Planet of the Apes. Interesting. I wonder.
So we didn't really talk about the trailer. So
yeah, I just gave like a 2-line synopsis.
The trailer just shows Earth reverting back to its regular wildlife, untampered with by human state. We get some shots with some ships and some cars and some modern architecture. This takes place far in the future, way after humans have lost the war and apes have taken over. And the apes are kind of going, and it's playing out the way that you would expect it to as it goes on. The apes are pretty much trending back into the human path, where they're separating out into tribes, and they are enslaving each other. And they are warring with each other.
That's what it definitely looks like.
The synopsis for Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes reads as...
So many ofs. That's funny.
Generations after the events of War of the Planet of the Apes, many ape clans have emerged in the oasis in which Caesar led his fellow apes, while humans have regressed into a feral state. So that lines up with the original Planet of the Apes movies. When the ape leader Proximus Caesar, it makes me think of Optimus Prime.
Absolutely.
Proximus Caesar perverts the teachings of Caesar to enslave other clans and search for the last traces of a secret human technology.
AI.
The ape Noah embarks on a journey to find freedom alongside a young human woman named May.
So Caesar is long gone. Okay, that makes a little more sense.
Yes.
The main ape we are seeing in the trailer is Noah and not Caesar.
Correct.
Makes sense. It's coming back to me. It's been a while since I've seen any of these, so when I watched the trailer, I was trying to say, who is this and who is this? But they're all new people.
It's looking very 10 Commandments-esque.
What gives you 10 Commandments?
You
to
have
let my people go.
A new Proximus Caesar who's perverting the teachings of the original Caesar who led the apes to the promised land. The main character ape is named Noah. And then we get a shot of a bunch of apes living in some type of large boat right off the side of the beach. The biblical allegory is like smacking you in the face watching this trailer.
It's definitely got that kind of world building, lore, cultural backdrop to it for sure.
This main Proxima Caesar ape that's supposed to be the villain, I'm assuming.
I feel like they should have named him something else.
Has a whole like village set up. He wears a crown. He's got other apes like rallying around him.
He's definitely got a politician feel.
Perverting the teachings of the original. He calls himself Caesar. Like, this is
it's giving biblical fighting.
It's like a lot of different biblical stories all tangled together, it seems like.
Visually, it looks good though.
Visually, it does look good. Absolutely.
It'll probably be a good time. I don't know what the run, they haven't said like what the run time and how long it is. I'm curious if it's gonna stretch over that 2.5 hour mark.
This one has a different director.
It's not Matt Reeves, yes.
It is being directed by Wes Ball, who doesn't have a large filmography, but he did direct the Maze Runner film trilogy, which is one of my favorite young adult
I do enjoy
film trilogies.
I did enjoy the Maze Runner. Okay, that's good. I feel good about it.
Yeah.
Maze Runner, if you haven't seen the Maze Runner trilogy, I would recommend it. It's pretty good. So that is coming out. That'll be a summer blockbuster. That's coming out, as we said, May 2024. I'm curious. There has got to be some other major movies coming out also in May. So that'll be an interesting box office.
And didn't Deadpool get moved to May?
You are correct.
Yeah.
Oh.
So I don't think this is going to be able to compete with Deadpool.
Well, you know what? Didn't they flip? Now isn't Captain America coming out in May and Deadpool got moved back to July? Listen, we talk about
I don't think this is going to be able to compete with any one of those Marvel movies.
I'm curious. We're
only because Planet of the Apes franchise has already showed diminishing returns already.
And I feel like the gap is a bit wide on the last time they...
This is basically like... This is like when Transformers put out Rise of the Beast.
Which was good.
Which was a good
but
return.
Not a lot of people...
From the past movie, which was the Mark Wahlberg movie. I think was like one of the lowest grossing ones. Yeah.
But not as big as the original.
Right. So it'll do well. And I think it'll get people back on the Planet of the Apes wagon.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure. So, summer blockbuster coming up, possibly going against a Marvel movie. We will see, but we're going to see whatever the Marvel movie is and this. So stay tuned. Next trailer we got was called The Fall Guy, or The Fall Guy. I put the D in there. Starring Ryan Gosling and Emily Blunt. It is coming out March 1st of next year. And it is essentially about are they a couple? Ryan Gosling plays a stunt double. Or should I say, maybe not a stunt double. No, we call him a stunt double. In movies. And Emily Blunt is a director. And Ryan Gosling gets recruited to be a undercover agent because he's not your stereotypical undercover agent, so they think nobody will suspect him. It's given Ken is a stunt double to me, but I have an iffy feeling on the trailer. I wasn't totally sold.
Yeah, so the premise is a battered and past his prime stuntman finds himself working on a movie set with the A-list star from whom he doubled long ago.
Okay.
When the star goes missing and the film, which is being directed by his ex-girlfriend, who's Emily Blunt, is in danger of being shut down, he volunteers to investigate the disappearance and find the missing actor. I'm assuming he's volunteering because he's still in love with Emily Blunt, and this will convince her to get back with him.
And I'm assuming Aaron Taylor Johnson is the movie star that is missing in this movie. He shows up in the trailer for 2 seconds.
Ryan Gosling... Aaron Taylor Johnson is supposed to be the A-list movie star that Ryan Gosling has doubled for.
Okay. I didn't really laugh that much. It was a little too try hard.
Yeah, I think... So the trailer is 3 minutes long.
It is very long.
3 minutes and 10 seconds long.
It is a
and
long
I
trailer.
was ready for it to be over about a minute in.
They pretty much, it is definitely one of those trailers, unlike the Planet of the Apes trailer, where you got like a little taste of who the people are, what the scenery is, what the kind of conflict is going on, and then it just cuts. This pretty much showed the movie. I mean, literally, it showed the movie. And I was just kind of like, so what's the twist here? Is there
Yeah,
gonna
it
be
pretty
a
much
plot
shows
turn,
you get a piece of
anything?
every scene that I think is going to be
In
in
every
the movie.
part of the movie. We got the beginning, we got the middle, and the end. I'm sure somewhere in that trailer, we just don't know it. So
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't think it looks that funny to me. It's definitely it's an action comedy movie. It's not supposed to be taken seriously at all.
It kind of looks like a step down for both Ryan Gosling and for Emily Blunt,
especially after Barbie and Emily Blunt was just in Oppenheimer. Yes, so you're correct.
This seems like a step down.
I'm sure
surprised this isn't. I'm surprised this isn't a Netflix movie.
It looks like
it's a Universal Pictures movie, which Universal is responsible for Bullet Train and the Fast franchise. So that makes sense. It also makes sense that Dwayne Johnson was originally in talks to be Ryan Gosling's character.
If that is not a Dwayne Johnson role, why didn't they? You know why? Maybe why? Because they just did Jungle Cruise. So maybe they were like, maybe we should pull somebody else in here.
Yeah, it was originally going to be The Rock as Ryan Gosling's character, and Mick G was going to be the director. Mick G directed Charlie's Angels, Full Throttle, Terminator Salvation, the Babysitter. There was an awful Netflix movie.
Okay, but I don't know that.
He has a middling to low filmography under him.
I looked up the director because I was like, well, what else? I mean, these two big stars. What else has the director done? He is a director for Atomic Blonde, which I don't think I saw.
Atomic Blonde was a good movie.
Was it Deadpool 2, which...
It was a good movie. It was not the best of Deadpools, but it was a good movie.
Fast and Furious, Hobbs and Shaw.
That was one of the worst Fast and Furious movies.
And Bullet Train.
You know what? I
haven't seen it.
I don't really remember how Bullet Train was received by critics, but I know a lot of people who went to see Bullet Train and did not like it.
Okay. It definitely came and went. Because it was one of those movies that had like a star-studded cast with a bunch of different people in it. It came out, and that was the last I heard of it. So I don't know about this one. I'm feeling iffy. I don't think I need to see another trailer because we've seen it all. So I don't. We'll see.
Yeah, Bullet Train had a B+ cinema score, so that means people thought it was decent.
Right.
Walking out of the theaters.
Are we? What do you think? Are we going to go review this one?
No, absolutely not. No.
Automatic no.
Absolutely not.
But yeah, if you're curious, The Fall Guys starring Emily Blunt and Ryan Gosling will be coming out next spring. March, I think, is kind of already packed with movies, so I'm curious what it's going to go up against. But yeah, it didn't look that great. But moving on to the next trailer that came out.
I will say it looks better than Argyle.
Let me think about that for a second. Argyle looks more entertaining.
Argyle looks like it has more. Argyle is filmed differently.
Correct.
This movie, okay, so The Fall Guy kind of looks like a Fast and Furious movie.
A funny Fast and Furious.
Argyle looks like a Kingsman movie, which it is because it's the same director.
Wait, you said you said Fall Guy looks like Fast and Furious movie?
Which it looks like the Fast and Furious movie.
Because the director did Hobbs and Shaw. So that makes sense.
Yeah.
I don't know. Argyle looks like more of a good time, mainly, I think, because of the cast. I'm not a huge...
the only person I'm a fan of in the Argyle cast is...
Samuel Jackson. You like
Bryce Dallas Howard.
You don't like Sam Rockwell?
I haven't seen him in enough stuff. I know he's been in everything, but I have not seen him in enough stuff. I don't mind him.
Knox on the Moon is in it.
That is not a Knox on the Moon.
No, who is that?
No, that's the girl who plays the mummy in the Tom Cruise Mummy.
Wrong mummy.
Yeah.
I was close. I don't know. I think Argyle looks more entertaining to me than this, but we'll see. We'll see what the reception is on Fall Guy and maybe give it a stream.
The Fall Guy cast looks good. You got Ryan Gosling, Emily Blunt, Aaron Taylor Johnson, but you also have Winston Duke.
I saw him in there.
You have Stephanie Hsu, who just was in Everything Everywhere All at Once, and she got nominated for an Oscar for that.
Mm-hmm. We'll see.
I'll definitely see it when it comes to streaming. I won't go to the theater to see this, though.
It's nice to see Winston Duke and stuff.
Yeah, absolutely.
I don't know what he's been doing acting wise, but it's nice to see his face. Yeah. So, all right, next trailer we got was for Echo, which is the Marvel Disney Plus series. Echo was first shown in Hawkeye.
Yes.
Which came out a couple Christmases ago. Not last Christmas, I think Christmas of 2022. She is
actually 2021.
Oh gosh, is Hawkeye that old?
Yeah.
Wow. But that's where she first showed up. So it's funny, before we get into the trailer, nobody thinks Echo needs a show.
No.
The fandom in general is like, why is Echo getting a show? Especially, there's a lot of, and we'll get into this in our next bullet point when we talk about this Variety article, but a lot of chatter around Marvel has been they're focusing on too many characters nobody cares about. They're giving characters shows nobody cares about. Nobody's going to watch any of this stuff. Why does Echo have a show? And then it was announced that Echo got pushed back, and that which was probably due to the strike, I'm assuming, but then they said that it was all coming out at once, which has never happened for a Disney Plus show. So everybody's already like, Disney doesn't have any faith in the show. They're not even going to release it week to week. Although I'm changing my mind on that based on the trailer. So the trailer came out yesterday or day before yesterday. I can't remember. It looks pretty darn good.
Yeah, it looks good.
It's top notch, y'all.
So it has a TVMA rating,
which is a first,
which you can kind of see in the trailer. It's very dark. It's kind of I don't know what it's
dark in tone, not dark in color.
It looks like a crime movie.
It's like a Departed.
Yeah, it's got like that Heat type of filmography.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's definitely given crime, gritty, dark backyard or back alley type of.
Like, this is what the Echo trailer is, what people want them to do, have been wanting them to do with Daredevil.
Yes. Correct.
Which is funny because Daredevil got completely scrapped because it turned out to be going in a direction that they didn't want it to.
And you made a comment of,
I'm assuming Echo is being made on the same lot, and nobody just looked over to the Echo side and was like, maybe we should be doing, maybe we should be doing what they're doing with Echo with our Daredevil.
That's an interesting point that the series arc, because Daredevil pops up in this trailer for a half a nanosecond. So it is interesting when you said, like, how does this Echo trailer look so good?
Like, Daredevil is supposed to be the gritty street level hero,
and they scrapping the whole show.
And y'all are making like a Suits show with Daredevil, but doing this with Echo, who nobody is really invested in
until this trailer came out.
Yeah.
So the trailer is basically Fisk. I think that's his name, right?
Wilson Fisk.
Yes, who's kind of doing the narration of the show, and it shows Echo as a little girl. Echo is deaf, so she's trying to buy ice cream, and the ice cream vendor's being mean to her. So what's his character's name?
Kingpin.
There it is, Kingpin. Kingpin beats the guy bloody, and you actually get to see the blood in the show. But the rest of the trailer shows lots of clips of fighting, gunplay, people busting through the walls. There looks to be some sort of backstory that they're going to show about how she got her powers in her culture.
Yeah, I have information
which
on
actually
that.
looks kind of cool. Go ahead with what you found.
The actress's name is Alaqua Cox. I think I'm pronouncing that correctly.
Okay. I was wondering how.
She plays the main character Echo, which is her superhero name. Her character's name is Maya Lopez. She is deaf. She's a Native American superhero. And she is from the Choctaw tribe. I think I'm pronouncing that correctly. Okay. And in the show, she basically has like Taskmaster abilities, where she can copy and mimic any type of fighting
in the show
move.
Or in the comic?
Well, I'm sorry, in the comics.
Right. Okay.
In the comics, she has this ability to mimic moves and mimic fight moves, kind of just like Taskmaster.
It basically, Taskmaster learns how you fight, essentially.
Yeah, and she's able to do the same thing. There was discussion that they kind of wanted, kind of the same way that they did it with Miss Marvel. They wanted to make their powers, because in comics, Miss Marvel's powers are very similar visually to Fantastic Four. Reed Richards. So because they're doing Fantastic Four, they wanted to differentiate her earlier. So sense. They're doing the kind of the same thing with Echo,
which makes sense because Taskmaster we've already seen.
So she's gonna kind of have these, like, it's not the same as Black Panther, but she's gonna inherit her powers from like her tribe and the women who came before her.
There is a scene of a woman who's pregnant that looked like it may be her mother. There's somebody in the woods and you see her pregnant and she's kind of standing up against a tree like she
It looks
might
like
be
she's
in
going
labor.
into labor.
Yep.
Director and executive producer Sidney Freeland said that Lopez, who is Echo, will not have the ability to perfectly copy another person's movements from the comics, saying that he thinks it's kind of lame.
Okay.
That's
lame. I don't like the way
I mean, because you can't
it.
really do anything visually with that.
Absolutely.
Other than showing because think about it, that was the only thing Taskmaster did in Black Widow, and I think that was a big complaint that it wasn't in a visual spectacle. So they're gonna just give her super strength and superhuman fighting abilities in this one.
I'm with it.
I think that she's gonna have another ability. There was a rumor that she's going to get her abilities from being a descendant of the Choctaw women who came before her. But all of those women had different abilities. Ooh. So she'll have different abilities based on them. Like she'll have a bunch of different things that she can do.
I can pick up what they putting down.
Yeah. Hopefully they don't do like they did with Secret Invasion, where they make her like a super Skrull. Because we have enough of one is enough running around unaccounted for.
We could have did a whole episode on Secret Invasion, and we will not. But yeah, we are hoping that Secret Invasion was just a blip in the MCU TV show radar, and things are more going to be like WandaVision or Loki or Falcon and the Winter Soldier. But the trailer is funny because I think the trailer came out. And everybody was like, why are they releasing this trailer? Nobody cares. And then it was a very good trailer. And everybody's like, wait a minute. I think we might need to hold up our judgment until this comes out.
Yeah. So the premise of the show says Maya Lopez returns to her hometown in Oklahoma, where she must come to terms with her past, reconnect with her Native American roots, and embrace her family and community. The trailer ends with a scene of her holding a gun to Kingpin, while he's giving a speech across the trailer, basically saying him and Echo are the same. And if you didn't watch Hawkeye, you would not know that Hawkeye ended. There was Echo's side plot. Echo and Kingpin's side plot was introduced in Hawkeye.
Right.
And the show ends with Maya shooting Fisk in the eye.
And we all pretty much knew he wasn't
because
dead.
He was responsible for one of her family members being killed.
I believe so, yes.
Yeah.
But you knew he wasn't dead. But the fact that they showed her shooting was kind of like, whoop.
Yeah, because all her life, she's thought of him as her adopted guardian, and he's been taking care of her. But in reality,
he was responsible.
He was
for
the one who
her
had her
dad.
parents killed.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm looking forward to it now. And the reason why at first it was like they don't have any faith in the show, they're releasing it all at once. I actually think this might be a good idea. It's only 5 episodes. So I think you'll be able to like binge the whole thing in like one weekend. Which actually,
it's
people will probably do.
They needed to go back to doing that. We are out of, it's not like the beginning of COVID where we're in the beginning of lockdown and we have nothing to do but sit at home and watch something week to week and sit on Twitter and speculate.
Yeah.
Outside is back open. People have places to go.
And they going.
So I would much rather binge watch a show at once and
get it
free up the rest of my schedule than have to pencil in an hour each week.
Fair.
Yeah.
I can see that. And I'm taking back, I'm eating my words on them releasing this as a binge because they don't have confidence. I think it's that let's all get it out at once so you all guys can see the whole story. And you don't have to, because you can only watch a couple episodes and then finish the rest. But I'm going to eat my words on that. I think they know what they're doing. Shocker.
It's give and take. Sometimes they know what they're doing. Sometimes they don't.
This
was a good decision. So instead of, I'm going to stop with Marvel and just giving them kudos across the board as they do one good thing, and I'm just going to say good job on each good thing.
There you go. Individual criticism.
I think we've learned that giving them too much kudos at once has caused them to make a lot of poor decisions.
Which is going to lead us right into our next point. I can't think, a couple days ago, earlier this week, Variety came out with an article called Crisis at Marvel. Jonathan Majors' backup plans, the Marvel's reshoots, reviving original Avengers, and more issues revealed. Some of the issues, and mind you, Marvel didn't say this themselves. But Variety is a trusted trade. And apparently have sources that find things out and say things. So you
Mhm.
gotta kind of take things with we're assuming they're gonna tell the truth and not lie, but you also have to recognize that Marvel didn't say this.
Right.
So some of the things, I'll do a quick rundown. We can kind of pick and choose what we want to go over. There's a mention of bringing back the OGs, the original Avengers.
Okay.
Which, let me just run down my list first.
Okay.
They are also thinking about switching away from Kang for Doom, Dr. Doom, and a potential recasting of Majors.
Okay.
The Marvels is not doing well for pre-sales, and apparently there were a lot of reshoots. Allegedly, Kevin Feige is being spread thin, which is causing a lot of angst and issues within the brand. There was also mention of Blade having several rewrites, which I think we already knew because some news had been coming out. Blade has been pushed back several times, but this article kind of highlighted that apparently in one of the drafts, he was going to be like the fourth lead character in his own movie.
Mm-hmm.
But silver lining with Blade that they mentioned is that they do have a new writer for Blade, which is the same writer from the movie Logan, which everybody seemed to love, which I won't watch because it might make me sad. So,
I mean, he's not dead anymore now, so you might as well.
Not in this universe. We'll see. But I don't even know where. I'll start with the thought.
Let's just go from the
Let's
top.
just squish the first one. Bringing back the original Avengers? Ain't no way. Ain't no way. Please.
Somebody else said that looks like a sign of desperation if they do that.
Of course it does.
I do think that looks like a sign of
Which is
desperation.
why I don't think they're going to do it.
Bringing back the OGs is weird too because most of them haven't gone anywhere. We've only lost like 3.
Right.
We still have
Thor.
Bruce Banner is still around.
Hello?
Hawkeye is still around.
Hello?
Thor is still around.
Hello?
The only ones that are gone
Tony and Black Widow.
that we know for sure
and Cap.
are Tony. I mean, Cap's still technically canon alive.
Right.
He's
just
still
old, right?
He's just old, and they're not doing anything with him right now.
I don't believe this, mainly because if you were to bring back Tony Stark, if you were to bring back Robert Downey Jr. period, that's gonna be too much money.
I mean, it just says there were talks, so that just means that they mentioned it in a meeting and somebody came and told.
You're right. Right. I don't think it went beyond. Wouldn't it be a crazy idea? And somebody said it, and then somebody else was like, "Get that man out of here."
Yeah,
and that was probably it. Hopefully, that was it.
Here's the thing. Robert Downey Jr. isn't coming back because he said he's done everything he wants to do with the character. Right. And he was just in Oppenheimer. He's back to he's back in the Hollywood movie business.
Right.
Scarlett Johansson died. Her character died.
Yeah, she did.
Got a solo, sued y'all over the solo.
Sure. Yes, you are right. I briefly forgot about that.
Won in a settlement. Got what she asked for. Still got to keep her project that she's working on for Disney. She was just in that Wes Anderson movie that she was the lead in.
Right.
She's also doing voice acting for the Netflix trend. Scarlett Johansson is not.
She's booked and busy.
Yeah, she's not looking, and she was booked and busy even when she was in the MCU.
Right.
She's one of the very few stars out of the MCU that works consistently.
Right. And she would also be somebody that's going to be too expensive.
She would be extremely expensive because now it's like the price went up because she was already a beloved character when she was in the MCU, but now y'all calling on her to save it. Like the price goes up.
The budget would be too astronomical.
And y'all can't pay for her and Robert Downey Jr.
Right. The price would be too astronomical to include both of them. And I'm sure Chris Hemsworth's price has gone up. Everybody is not going to be the same as
the only person whose price has gone down is probably Chris Evans.
Y'all don't be
because
leaving us bad reviews for that.
But that's because
he has not had a.
That's not because I don't like Chris Evans. I enjoy Chris Evans and everything he's in, but he is not received well as an actor outside of the MCU.
You are not lying, and I won't even debate you on that.
Yeah,
we hope he gets it back together.
We do.
However,
but everything he's been in outside the MCU has been reviewed negatively as far as his performance.
Yeah, we actually had a movie on our calendar that we were going to do, and then the reception was so bad, we were like, actually,
I think he just has a range,
but his range has to be outside Captain America.
Well, I think that his range is the extent of his range is Captain America. No, then once he tries to do anything deeper than that,
he just need a crash course.
It starts to show his
He just
cracks.
need a master class on, the fundamentals, getting back into it. Something.
Yeah.
Something. But I don't think this is a thing. I think it was a brief thing, but it was something people hung on to from this article with all their life. Like,
because people, of course, there are people who want. I mean, if they make a movie and they bring back all the original Avengers, everybody's
we're
going to
gonna
run out
see it, but
and
it's
go
gonna be
see
like
it. Nobody's going to be complaining that it's being made, but it does
it
just
doesn't
sound
make
like a really.
logical sense.
It seems like a really. This is something you do when you're like, we are done with the MCU.
Oh,
this is
yeah,
the end.
Yeah, a final chapter to close the whole thing down.
Yeah,
And
because
that
what
is
would
not-
the plot be? And it undercuts the sacrifices that were made.
Somebody tried to say, "Oh, it'll just be like in comics when people like," but that's not.
It
This
is
not.
It is extremely comic accurate, but that
but
is
this
also
not the comics.
that
These
is-
are movies.
that is also why comic books fail, because
They keep
they'll
bringing
do a
people to
really
that.
good storyline,
Mhm.
and then by the end, they're like, comic executives are like, "This was great." Sold crazy off the shelf.
Let's do it.
However, you killed a lot of people that we want to do stuff with, so now we
Bring
have
them
to
on back.
now we have to resurrect them all.
in a new edition, in a new issue, in a new story.
Like Black Widow has died in the comics a ridiculous amount of
They
times.
all like die and come
They
back.
all die horrible deaths,
You can't do
and
that
then
with movies.
they
though.
do something like, "Oh, we use the cosmic cube to
Right.
turn back
the
time."
Tesseract. Let's
Yeah,
bring back the Tesseract.
so it's very comic accurate. I think it's a bad idea. Don't do it.
I think most people think. I think the minority here are people who actually want this to happen. Let's move on. Let's move past it. Marvel. I mean, it's Marvel Comics. Y'all got a bazillion characters to keep pushing on with.
Yeah,
Let's not do this. I'm going to actually say I don't believe this was actually thought about.
I
That
don't think
much.
it was actually thought about that. Like I said, it was mentioned in a meeting.
Somebody-
Somebody saw it as a bullet point on the agenda on
Right.
the Outlook calendar invite, and it was
Maybe.
like, "Oh, we're
Even
actually
that.
talking about this."
Somebody took a bite of their donut, said it, and was like, you know what? That actually didn't sound right. Let's keep this
Yeah.
moving. All right. Next thing I have is switching from Kang for Doom and potentially recasting Majors. I do not. If they're going to do it, they need to do it clean.
This is a bad idea.
Because Loki is setting up Kang in a. I like it. And they're setting it up in such a way where they're like, Kang could be here. Kang could be there. Well, his variants, I should say. His variants could be anywhere. And they could be doing anything. And they can actually have, will have different personalities. Like what? How are you going to wrap all that up if you go, actually, we're going to throw this away and introduce a new character. Not new character to the comics, but a new villain. I'm not. They're going to have to be real creative if that's what they decide to do.
I think this is a bad idea because Marvel has a villain issue, not just MCU, but Marvel Comics.
Oh, you going back. Okay.
Where they pull their villains from has a villain issue, and the issue is that they don't have that many. Like the Avengers don't have that many villains.
Okay.
The villains that the Avengers have are all supposed to be like mega threats, and Kang is one of them.
Okay.
And to do nothing with him means you're losing one of the very few villains that you have the ability to make an Avengers movie based around.
I mean, that's what that's the plan. Kang Dynasty is supposed to be a thing. You gonna scrap all of it?
Yeah, it's kind of like how
Don't like it.
Kang is a big bad. So and people are like, "Oh, well, yeah, they should scrap Kang because I just don't see how Kang doesn't feel like Thanos." And it's like, I think we're doing rewriting of history because people didn't have a feeling of what Thanos was until Infinity
Literally.
War. Nobody knew how threatening Thanos was until they saw him beat up the Hulk the first time.
He was an after credit scene for the longest.
Yeah. So
And
when
people were like, "Who is this?"
when people are like, "Oh, he's just not giving me Thanos vibes," you didn't get Thanos vibes until 2018.
Yeah. People like to rewrite history about all franchises. And you're like, y'all, I will never forget how somebody highlighted how people thought Marvel was dead and the MC and the superhero fatigue was taking over in Age of Ultron. And I was like, I don't know if I remember that, but I went back and if you just search Age of Ultron superhero fatigue, you will find article after article after article. People like, because Age of Ultron didn't make more than the previous Avengers movie. So people were like, oh no, this is bad. People don't want to deal with this anymore. And it's like, y'all, we're forgetting that Marvel actually didn't have all this together. They were kind of going it as things were coming out.
And that's another thing. That was Age of Ultron was the first time people started complaining
that was
about
2015.
That was the first time people started complaining about MCU killing off its villains too early.
Which is
because Ultron was the first villain where people were like, "Oh, this is somebody you guys should have kept around."
because he can be in multiple way.
Because he's AI, and
Right.
especially now,
Oh yeah,
he
now
definitely could have played a
morphed
factor.
into other
But
things.
that was one of the issues why people consider Age of Ultron the worst Avengers movie.
Which I do not agree with.
Because they feel like they wasted the storyline with Ultron. And sure, Ultron was like the Ultron storyline went on longer than the Infinity Gauntlet storyline in comic books. Ultron's whole thing was he had to take over. He took over the whole planet because he was AI, and it was like Terminator basically. And the only way they could stop him was to go back in time and kill Hank Pym, because in the comics, Hank Pym was the person who made
not
Ultron.
Tony Stark, like in the movie.
So they kind of did the time travel to go back in time to stop the villain thing in Endgame, which worked better in the movies.
Yes.
But that was Ultron's thing. That was how they stopped Ultron.
And I actually like whenever, because you are the comic wizard, I like how they kind of play around with the comic storylines and change them up. And then when you tell me how they actually did it in the comics, like, oh, both of those could have, it worked out well in the movie. Yeah. But the actual storyline was cool too. And they could probably use that for something else.
And it was better to use time travel at the end to go back through everything instead of using time travel the second Avengers movie and then if you try to use it again, it's just like, this is a gimmick.
You guys are rehashing, and people hate time travel, so let's not.
So switching from Kang to Doom, I think, is a waste of a waste of a big bad. You've completely taken a big bad and a good storyline off the board.
Yeah, it's shaping up well in Loki, so I do not understand how they would even pivot.
People aren't feeling Kang like that, because the only thing they've put Kang in is Quantum Mania, which wasn't a good movie.
Right.
Put Kang in.
People's favorite line is, he got beat up by a bunch of ants. Like, we got it.
And he's great in
Loki.
Loki.
Not dead, though, in my opinion.
Well, he could be dead because there's like so many other Kangs we saw at the end of that. So
True
yeah,
that.
Just one.
True that.
But he's also in Loki, and he's doing a really good job in Loki, but Loki is out now. And this is after this article, and this is after the mumblings of all the things that have been going wrong behind the MCU have already like hit the timeline. So people aren't invested in Loki because they're kind of waiting to see if this is all going to stick around and be important first. Which makes sense.
I guess though, but I also think it goes back to your point about people not wanting to watch stuff week to week. I think some people are also waiting to wait till it's over and then binge it. I think a lot of things were played with Loki and its viewership, but I think part of it is because people are like, I'm just gonna wait until the end. And also the Thursday prime time, I actually prefer if it was like maybe Tuesday. I don't know why Thursdays seem to be more of an effort than like a Tuesday.
Well,
I don't know, but they're setting them up in this show, and I would hate if they just go, "Oh, we just gonna drop it" because people say they're not paying attention.
Yeah, it's a waste of everybody's time. You're wasting Kang is an IP. Kang is a villain that you can do a lot of different things with, just like Thanos was. So if you think about the Infinity Saga and think, well, what if they erased Thanos and just went with a different villain? It's like, well,
it just choppy.
He popped up in so many different properties, and he mattered in so many different properties. Now you're gonna cut him out,
and it makes all that other stuff that he was in not relevant. And I don't.
So take the time to actually put Kang in things that people will actually watch and pay attention to.
Like they did with Thanos.
Kang is a time traveling villain. He could pop up in any movie for any reason.
Yep.
Because it's literally just time travel. The TVA is supposed to be a big thing in Deadpool. Deadpool is already halfway through filming. It's supposed to be about
scrap all that.
You're gonna scrap Kang, who invented the TVA, but then how are you gonna explain where the TVA came from?
That's why I don't think this it sounds
it's
cute.
Stupid.
You know what I think though? Everybody is so anxious to get to Fantastic Four. They just want any sliver of anything that resembles it to show up as fast as it can. So everybody's like, doom, 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 doom. It's like, y'all just wait a second. Let them cook. Or no, is that how the kids use it? Whatever.
Yeah, let them cook.
Let them cook. Let them simmer. Let it marinate, just like we did with literally phase 1 through 3.
And in the original Secret Wars, Kang and Doom worked together. They were two big bads who worked together.
Why would we not want to see that?
In the original Secret Wars comic storyline. So just keep them together. Doom can wait because if people want to see Doom so bad, they'll still be here. I don't think the Fantastic Four is losing a fan base. They're like
Absolutely
the
not.
most. They're like the OG vanilla group of superheroes. So the OG
No.
vanilla fans
Why
will
would you-
absolutely flock to
And
theaters
why
to
would
see
you
them.
introduce a related villain way before the movie comes out?
Yeah, Fantastic Four is like the Barbie of supervillain teams. They're like stereotypical Barbie. So
Yeah.
people are gonna go see stereotypical Barbie because she's
Right.
she's the Barbie.
Hello,
But-
and Marvel's finally redoing this, so everybody's gonna be like, "Oh, we can't wait to see what Marvel does with this."
It says potential recasting of majors. It's fine. I don't care.
My thing is, if you're gonna recast them, I don't care either, but do it and keep it moving. Don't get rid of the whole character because that doesn't. Now, I do want to say disclaimer asterisk. He better be a black man. Like, you better find somebody black. Come on now.
Yeah, absolutely.
He is a black little boy in Loki. We cannot transform him.
A lot of people are like John Boyega could play Kang. I think John Boyega could play Kang. And I would not have thought that if I had not seen him play different characters and they clone Tyrone. So I think he has the ability and range
I think so.
to play
I'm on board with that.
multiple variations of the same character.
I have been betting against no one that they were going to recast him anyway. So I think they of course have already had conversations about it. Jonathan Majors doing, this is not a knock on his acting ability, but the man got things going on. We're going to recast and keep it moving.
I used to be an MCU purist about like, no, never recast anybody. If you're going to recast them, just write the character out or do something else. And I used to be an MCU purist, and that's because the MCU was like really good at that time and you didn't want anything to change.
Mm-hmm.
But now we're at a point of, if it's between
change.
Losing good storytelling and characters and keeping this person that could literally go and do anything else after this, absolutely recast them and do something and cast somebody else.
At the end of the day, if something were to happen to this is not like Chadwick. I'm talking about something happened to somebody where they couldn't be. They're still here with us, but they can't be in the movie. Y'all better find somebody else.
Yeah, absolutely.
Find somebody else. And that goes for mostly all characters. Not just this one.
If they just don't want to be in it anymore, or they're too busy, or they have something that it's a bad look for them.
Right.
Move on.
Keep the storyline. You can recast the actor. So I hope they don't switch. And if they do switch, I hope it's I don't know. You know what? I'm 10 toes down and please do not switch Kang out for Doom because 1, they're setting Kang up nicely now in Loki. 2, I feel like it's too early for Doom to be popping up on the scene.
Yeah, so they have plenty of time to still do Kang correctly and get people on the Kang big bad wagon. And like I said, I think it's a rewriting of history because if you go back and you watch Infinity War, you'll realize that they did not know Thanos was an issue until Bruce Banner crashed back on Earth. Yep. And that's how he told everybody that Thanos is actually even a thing.
Yep.
So Kang
was literally 2 movies back to back.
So Kang could be a mystery to everybody until the Kang Dynasty movie. And if it's written well, it could still work because Thanos was the exact same way. Thanos would not have been successful if they knew about him through all of his movies. And the reason he succeeded is because he was able to do what he was able to do behind the scenes.
Right. And I was going to say, and he was in after credit scenes.
Exactly.
Literally in after credit scenes. So we'll see how that goes. Obviously, like we said, this article is all based on a source said and not what Marvel said.
The Marvel's not having good pre-sales. We saw this coming.
We did. Now the Marvels. I'm 10 toes down in supporting the Marvels. I do not anything negative. I'm like muted it. I'm not listening to. But I did read this article because obviously this is for our podcast. It's not doing well in the pre-sales. I don't think that's new news. People don't seem to want to be interested in this movie, although no one has seen it. At least the general public has not seen it. And I hope that this is not an issue of, well, nobody saw this women-led movie, woman-directed movie, and now we're not going to make any more. That's what I hope is not going to be.
That's what happens to all women-directed movies, though. Ask Patty Jenkins.
Well, Wonder Woman 1984.
Wonder Woman 1 was so good that they could have given her grace for a bad sequel.
Okay.
Because Thor 1 was
agree.
good and Dark World was so bad, but somehow Thor got 4 movies.
Now, I will stand with you toe to toe, hand to hand, cheek to cheek on. I hate the fact that women directors are not allowed to have a blip, a hiccup, a little bad run, even for one movie. And they're like, oh, you out of here. You can't ever make a superhero movie or action
and it's not even
movie
women anymore,
again.
because it's just like you
talking about Tika?
No, it's just the whole point of after we saw the studios were willing to give Zack Snyder millions and millions of dollars to make a Justice League movie, which was a follow-up of a bunch of other movies that weren't well received. You don't get to tell any other director anymore that they can't have hiccups.
And
because most of the Snyderverse was hiccups. Yeah. And he still got to make his dream.
Not critically acclaimed.
He still got to make his dream film in the end. So that means everybody should get the chance to do the exact same thing.
That's why I didn't like the shade of this article talking about, well, she left the movie after during post-production to go film another movie.
And I do want to say I enjoy Zack Snyder films. They are bad movies, but I am a person who enjoys bad films.
Y'all don't be leaving us bad reviews.
I like bad movies. So that's not like
I like bad movies. You are not helping.
The Watchmen was a good, horrible movie. It was very entertaining, but it was a bad movie.
It is a movie. I've seen it, and it is a movie. Yeah. But there's going to be a lot of backlash, a lot of chatter, a lot of incel talk, a lot of what do they call it?
MCU? I've already seen people just can't wait till the MCU is over.
I cannot take it. That's why I muted all on my feed. But Marvel's is probably not going to do well at the box office. I do not care. I need to order my shirt from Amazon. Hopefully the movie is like super good. Even if it's okay, like that's fine. I just don't like the whole hate that the movie is going to get, and I'm already preparing myself to either ignore it or fight for my life on Twitter. I'm not sure where I'm going to go with that.
People have always, men specifically, have always disliked the Captain Marvel character. Prior to Brie Larson, just because
prior to Brie Larson,
they've disliked the character Captain Marvel, even in comics, because she's like this.
Because she's a play off Captain America?
No, well, because she's the strongest character in the Marvel comics, strongest hero in the Marvel comics, and but like unfortunately, she's a woman. DC doesn't have this issue because it's Superman,
right?
And Superman is the strongest.
So
character.
Are they gonna get this flack to Supergirl?
Well, the reason Wonder Woman and Supergirl don't get flack like Captain Marvel, and this is this is outside of Brie Larson. Mm-hmm. This is just about the character. The reason Wonder Woman and Supergirl, they don't get flack on the DC side is because they can be as strong as they want, but there's always Superman and Marvel.
Always a one-up-em.
Right. He's always the man in charge in first place. So Wonder Woman can be as powerful as she wants as long as she's always at least
notch below
second place at a maximum. And the same with Supergirl. Supergirl can be as powerful and as amazing as ever, but you have to have Superman or people will riot.
I don't like it.
Captain Marvel has always had this issue with Marvel because on the Marvel fandom side, because there's no one up. What happened was there was Marvel, Marvel.
Familiar.
They gender bent her character for the Captain Marvel movie, and they made.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
There was Marvel, who was Captain Marvel in the Marvel comics.
Is that who Annette Bening played?
Yes.
Okay.
So in the comics, it was a guy. It was a male Kree.
Gotcha.
He was the strongest, superhero in the Marvel comics, but he died, and there was an explosion, and the powers got transferred to Carol Danvers.
Okay.
So she became the Superman. And there was no guy that was like
counterbalancing her.
Yeah, there was no guy to counterbalance and keep her like in the second place position. So that's why people have never received her very well, because she does not play second place to a Superman.
She doesn't, and she don't act like it either.
And I think what makes it worse is that you have this character who has and very much has the personality of I don't play. There was Civil War in the comics, which was Captain America versus Iron Man, but there was also Civil War 2. There was a second Civil War in the comics, which was Captain Marvel versus Iron Man. And she very much Captain Marvel lived in the comics because the second Civil War in comics was about, there was an Inhuman who had the ability, it was Minority Report. There was an Inhuman who had the ability to detect, who took a sense and have visions of of disasters before they happen. So Captain Marvel was on the side of, well, let's Minority Report this and start arresting villains before they do bad things. And Iron Man was like, no, that's
interesting.
That violates civil rights.
The Iron Man of the MCU, I feel like, would be on the opposite side of that.
And what kicked off the Civil War was that the Inhuman had a vision that Bruce Banner would Hulk out and lay waste to like a city and kill a bunch of people. So Captain Marvel was like, let's arrest him. Not kill him, but Captain Marvel was like, let's arrest him to prevent the tragedy from happening. And the reason the war got kicked off is because while they're arguing about what they should do about Banner, an arrow flies out of nowhere and hits Banner in the head and kills him. And there's a trial that kicks off the war because Hawkeye reveals that...
Yeah, I was about to say, who else would they have come
Hawkeye
from?
reveals that him and Banner made a promise. Hawkeye reveals that Banner made him make a promise that if he was ever to turn to Hulk again, he would take him out. And that's what kicked off the Secret War.
What an interesting storyline.
Yeah. But anyway, back to Captain Marvel. She doesn't play second fiddle.
And she doesn't act like it in the movie.
On the page, and the actor and the actress and the character, they have the attitude of not playing second fiddle.
People do not like it.
People do not like that.
Men do not like it.
People don't like that at all. I feel like Tiana Paris's character is well received.
Yes, I think she is she seems to be the most well received because people were also hating on Miss Marvel. And I'm just like, how do you have room to hate this much in your heart about like, people are hoping that the movie fails. Like, how do you have the energy to hope a movie fails starring people that are unproblematic?
Well, because it's a movie about 3 women superheroes who would be fine, but they're not like...
They're not like over sexualized?
Yeah, that's exactly what it is.
Okay.
Because they're not sexualized enough for it to be acceptable for them to also be powerful. Have
their own movie, right?
Powerful women.
Listen.
Because you never had these issues with Charlie's Angels.
No, because they're sexualized.
Yeah, exactly.
Hello? And they're led by a man.
Yeah, exactly.
So I think the movie is going to be good. I'm hyped for it. It's supposed to have at least one really hype after credit scene. I'm trying with all my might.
It's supposed to have a new surprise
ending credit scene.
A new surprise cameo.
Okay, cameo.
Yeah.
I'm going to try to avoid trailer or spoilers with all my might. We'll see how far I get, but we will definitely be reviewing that. Guess what? Next episode.
Yes.
All right. Next on the list of this article, Fiege is allegedly spread thin.
You have to convince me to
I was going to say, I think that's obvious. There's a lot of shows. I won't say there's a lot of movies. It feels like I don't know how many movies typically come out per year with Marvel. We just go see them. But you add in the many shows that are coming in onto it, and he is literally the overseer of all of them. I can definitely see how they doing too much.
Yeah, it's strange because he's supposed to be the overseer of all of them, but also these are some of the same shows that are being scrapped and completely reworked, which just shows that he's supposed to be the overseer, but he clearly doesn't have enough time because the whole how the whole Daredevil thing went down. It was he watched what they had so far and realized he didn't like it. You should have checked in a little bit earlier than that.
Somebody should have said that sooner.
But he probably just didn't have the time to.
I mean, you can only do so much, and when you add on not only a movie franchise, but then you add in and we already talked about how they weren't using TV showrunners and TV executives for their shows. They was using movie execs. And that movie exec was probably Kevin Feige.
Yeah.
So and I also feel like this article was beating a dead horse just a little bit, just a tinge, because Bob Iger has said at least 3-4 times that they are slowing down content. They are not putting out as much stuff. They are focused on quality, not quantity. So we just kind of regurgitating a little bit what we kind of already, what we already knew or speculated. And 2, the fact that they've already said, yeah, we know, we trying to fix it.
Last bullet, Blade rewrites. This is probably the 4th time I've heard about Blade being rewritten.
At least.
Blade has been in what has been called development hell. Yeah. Because
the words have been said.
They just have not been able to get this off the ground. Now, out of this Variety article, there was a rumor that the latest version of the Blade script had Blade working alongside 3 other women characters.
Trigger word.
Which I'm not sure if one of the 3 women would be Mia Goth.
When we were talking about this, I was like, the only woman that we know so far in this movie is Mia Goth,
and she's the villain.
And we assume that she's the villain. So what?
So maybe she's one of the 3, because the villain has to be top billing. Right. The villain has to be top billing. So maybe Mia Goth is one of the 3 women, and then there's the other 2 women, which is one. There was a rumor that he was supposed to have a daughter in the film.
He wouldn't be okay.
Which they're right. His current comic book run has him training his daughter. Has him training a daughter that he has.
I don't know if I agree with the intro of daughter.
And they usually do the comic and movie stuff simultaneously to try to get everybody to pay attention
to the comic that's out
and the book and the movie.
Okay.
The 4th woman, the 3rd woman maybe could be whatever love interest they write in for, because he always has a love interest in everyone. But either way, There was rumor that the latest installment of the script had Blade pretty much playing 4th wheel to a bunch of other women characters that were written into the story. Right. And he wasn't going to have as much lines and screen time as the rest of them.
Right. But however, you saw a tweet of I guess he maybe was a previous writer who might no longer be working on the movie. Mm-hmm. And he said no script that he ever saw ever had him as 4th billing. And he was in every line, or he was in every scene of the whole movie.
Yeah.
So a little bit of contradictory news there. I would be more likely to believe the person who actually worked on it.
And all of this stuff that comes from this,
the source.
All of the things that come from this article are from sources.
Right.
But it doesn't specify the direction of the source. So we don't know if this is a source coming from within Marvel or
somebody on Reddit.
And it could be, I think it's a combination of both. Some of these things feel like corporate spin, like go out, we're paying you to go out to spin this so people don't think it's us. And when I say they, Marvel is paying people to go out and talk to the press to spin it.
Okay.
Just like they do for like elections. Mm-hmm. And I think some of the sources could be people who are outside.
Who know somebody
inside feeding them this information.
Yeah, it's all, like I said, it's all not directly from
We will never know the truth.
Oh,
no.
The
truth is in the middle.
Right.
But we won't know the full truth.
Between the lines of the article, the truth is somewhere where we can't see it.
Yeah.
So unless somebody from Marvel does an expose, and Marvel usually doesn't do any type of spilling of the beans. Mm-hmm. I think in either this article or another article, somebody said Kevin Feige don't like when drama get out. So this is definitely not
that makes sense.
Coming from, right. It just makes things messy.
The Blade thing, when they first announced Blade, it was like the after credit teaser of the Comic-Con when they just brought Mahershala Ali out just gave everybody Black Widow hats.
Yep.
So they've never even had a Comic-Con where they've ever talked about Blade.
Nope.
They've never talked about Blade at a D23 since they announced that it was going to be played by Mahershala Ali. They've done nothing with Blade as far as discussion wise.
No, I think they're probably going to, maybe next Comic-Con, it'll have a little more meat on its bones.
Yeah, now that it seems
next Comic-Con is going to be wild.
It seems that...
so wild. Between DC and Marvel, we got to get...
I know we have to go.
We got,
but...
Sidebar. We need to go.
Yeah, with the Blade, the new writer they've got on it is the same writer from the Logan movie.
Positive.
Which...
Silver lining.
Is a silver lining.
Now I know Logan is well received. I have not seen Logan because it is sad from what I know. So maybe I'll watch. No, I'm not. Let me not lie to myself.
You can literally watch now because now the Deadpool's coming out, and they said that it's canon.
But it's not the same Logan, right?
They said it's canon. I think they just pulled Logan out of the timeline before. They pulled Wolverine out of the timeline before Logan. But what that also means is that even though it's canon, it could be that reality of that timeline could be completely wiped. So there's no consequences to watching Logan now.
I know, but it's so sad.
And it's about how, like, I think Patrick Stewart dies in Logan.
I know, that's why I'm like.
But you saw him in Multiverse of Madness, so he's clearly still out there.
Okay, maybe
so
I'll give it a spin.
Just like comic books, MCU movies now have no stakes.
Okay.
Because they can literally just bring anybody back.
I'm not terribly mad about that because I'm gonna need Wanda back at some point, which we didn't talk. Me and you had a Wanda conversation, but it wasn't mentioned in this article. We'll see. I'm of the mindset of everything can't be on top always. Okay. Like every now and then you might need to get a V8 smacked up beside your head and say, hey, you're doing too much, or you need a course correction, and it's gonna be back.
Does it specify who the writer is?
For
Blade? Which Logan writer? Because the Logan writer has 3 people under screenplay.
Let me see which writer.
So there are 3 writers on Logan.
Okay.
There's James Mangold, who's also the director.
James Mangold. Why does that name sound familiar? Indiana Jones?
Walk the Line? Girl Interrupted?
Oh no. Okay. No. Get in. Keep going.
4v Ferrari? Indiana Jones Dial of Destiny. He directed and co-wrote Dial of Destiny.
Okay. I was like, that name sounds familiar to me. Okay. Yeah. It doesn't say. Oh wait. Michael Green. According to the author, star Mahershala Ali was set to lead the project prior to Logan writer Michael Green joining the project.
So it's Michael Green. Okay. That's the better, because it was between Michael Green and Scott Frank then.
Okay.
And Michael Green has done Logan, Alien Covenant, Blade Runner 2049, and Murder on the Orient Express.
Okay.
So he has things behind him. He's also written some episodes of Sex and the City, Smallville, Everwood, and Heroes.
He got a nice little rhyography. Yeah. I know that's not a word, but I'm going to use it.
I think it's still filmography.
Rhyography.
Yeah.
New word. Check it. Okay. I'm optimistic about this whole Marvel situation.
They can absolutely turn Blade around.
I think in 2 years or 3 years from now, once we got Secret Wars popping, Kang Dynasty popping, we know more about X-Men and Fantastic Four, everybody's going to forget all of this, just like everybody forgot when Age of Ultron drama after Endgame and Infinity War came
Here's
out.
The thing. Blade, it also came out in this article that they are eyeing a 2025 release.
Yes.
And it's rumored that it has a budget. They want to do it for under $100 million.
Possible.
Perfect.
It's a horror movie. That is perfect. Horror movie.
And they want to lean more into horror. Yeah. Wesley Snipes' first Blade had a budget of $45 million. Oh, really? And it still holds up.
Oh, yeah.
And a lot. Like some of the practical effects, not the CGI. CGI does not hold up.
Well, I mean.
The practical effects of it, though. Mm-hmm. The action, the costuming. They filmed it they filmed it on a set, but it looked very New York. Mm-hmm. And they were able to do that $45 million. $100 million is double that budget. You can absolutely pull that off.
Them trying to do $100 million budgeted movie actually makes me feel better, because that does gravitate to horror, which everybody quote unquote says is cheap.
Yep. Horror is very cheap to make, and it has very high returns if done well.
Yeah.
So
I'm optimistic about MCU going forward. We may be in a little rough patch, and that's okay. Disney, every now and then you need to knock the top dog off the pedal so they can get a little more grounded.
Yeah,
is what I say. So, anything else from this particular?
No, that's all my thoughts. I just want.
You want the good stuff back.
I want the good stuff back. Mm-hmm. I want them to stop. There was a lot of everybody on Twitter was like ablaze for like 48 hours after this news came out.
Then Echo dropped. I'm just playing.
And then Echo dropped.
Everybody forgot what they said.
And I just want Marvel to stop trying to do stuff to build up hype for stuff. The hype is already there. You don't have to drag us out very slowly to build up the anticipation. Okay. After we've seen Thanos, we know how crazy the MCU we know how crazy the MCU can get. Mm-hmm. So you don't have to take us back to Iron Man 1.
Right.
To ramp it back up.
Right.
You can keep the tempo here. Don't turn everybody down. You don't have to turn on this. Right now, I feel like the DJ played all the hot songs, and for some reason, they think we want an hour of slow jams before we get back to the hot music. And it's like, no, keep the
vibe.
Keep the slow jams for when the club is closed.
Right. I love that analogy.
But yeah, get back to the stuff that people really want to see. There's no reason why it took this long for us to get back to Loki.
Okay.
There's no reason why.
In quality as well.
I'm a believer that they should have started rehabbing Wanda immediately after Doctor Strange 2.
Yeah,
they should have started working on rehabbing her character right after.
We are opposite on. You think Wanda's gone, and I think
I don't think she's gone.
Oh, okay, you think it's taking too long to bring her back?
Yeah, because if she's not dead, then where is she?
Mm-hmm.
And what you can't tell me anything that's going on that's more important than what's
Wanda.
Going on right now.
Yeah.
And
this is we in a multiverse time situation. I don't disagree. I love me some Wanda too. Wanda.
Where's Shang-Chi? Shang-Chi was received very well. Why are y'all? People loved Shang-Chi's origin movie.
I've seen Shang-Chi and Multiverse of Madness twice.
Yeah.
All the way through.
People love Shang-Chi's origin movie. Didn't that beat Black Widow at the box office? So,
but I think Black Widow was more early pandemic and Shang-Chi was a little later pandemic.
Yeah, I think Shang-Chi was full theaters. Black Widow was when they were doing the go to theaters. I paid $30.
Yep.
But people didn't expect it to even beat Black Widow. And it did.
Listen, sidebar, if you have not seen Shang-Chi, do recommend it.
Yeah, where's Shang-Chi? Where are the pieces on the board? Where's Wong?
You're right. We love Wong.
Wong is the Sorcerer Supreme. How is that not factoring in?
When is Doctor Strange?
And Doctor Strange is not. Does he not have free time now? So why can't Doctor Strange pop up in more stuff?
You are not wrong, and I'm going to say I'm be optimistic that they are going to either they have a plan and we haven't seen it, or they are using this time to rework that plan to make it better going forward.
I think James Gunn heading up the DCU will be a great wake-up call.
Yes.
Because it's kind of like one of the star players. It's kind of like when you're playing dodgeball and everybody on your team is really good. So the teacher sends one of y'all good players to the other side. And it's like,
even it out.
They know our moves. They know our plan. It's time for us to actually start acting like we have competition out here because we do.
Healthy competition is good for the moviegoer.
Sure. Nobody's watching Gen V. Nobody's watching The Boys because they don't be hitting Nielsen. So if y'all want people are like, oh, I'm watching Gen V and it's better than Loki, call Nielsen because some reason Nielsen's not saying that you're watching it. But
I think Loki, I think Gen V might have been 10 and Loki might have been like 4.
Yeah. So
there's a gap. There's a gap.
There's a gap. Gen V, you have Gen V, you have The Boys, you have Invincible. They're like creating their own fan bases.
Correct.
But I feel like also people who are dissatisfied with the MCU and the DCU are starting to float over there to the Amazon camp. So they're building their own fan bases, which are small, but they're kind of picking off everybody else's fan bases, and you should worry about that.
Yeah. I mean, right. People can like multiple things, but people love to argue.
But people don't have time for everything.
True. And people love to argue their thing against another thing. I learned that.
I was watching, I haven't started it. I was gonna start watching Scavenger's Reign, which is that animated, which is it's getting very good reviews.
Okay, I need to add it to my list.
But I was about to watch it and I was like, I can't remember the last time I watched something on TV that wasn't like a part of a franchise or existing. Like I feel like I'm starting to spend I'm starting to spend all of my TV and movie watching time within franchises and not exploring outside of franchises. So
That's a good point.
I'm putting too much time into the same thing.
But but when things pop off and turn good, that's what they do with it. Invincible is now a franchise.
Yeah.
The Boys been a franchise. Gen V got another season. It's in the Boys franchise. Yeah. So that's a good point. I forgot all about that.
Yeah,
thank you for reminding
me.
All
of the time is just being spent within these franchises. It's very refreshing when I watch something that has not part of a connected world.
That's why I like creators so much.
I miss watching something and like forgetting that I saw it a month ago because I'm not constantly reminded that I saw it because it's popping up in something else that I'm watching.
You're right.
So
You're right. So it'll be interesting for not only Marvel and DC going forward.
Yeah.
Like they both gonna have to bring their A game because not only are they competing against themselves, like you just said, they're competing with stuff that's also in that nerdy comic sci-fi arena that's not a franchise.
So lastly, you showed me the Marvel Spotlight thing that they're doing now.
Yes, so let me pull it up because I thought it was actually kind of interesting. And of course, my timeline refreshed, so now I have to go find it. I got it. Marvel Spotlight is a new MCU label that will focus on bringing more grounded, character-driven stories to the screen with street-level stakes over the larger Marvel continuity. Spotlight projects will have a musical fanfare intro. I don't know why they added this, but it's going to have a new.
So I guess it's not going to be the standard Marvel.
Correct. It won't be our beloved Marvel Studios intro.
Okay.
They're going to have a new intro composed by Michael Giacchino, and if you don't know who that is, Google, but he's a very good composer, musical
and
composer. Director.
So this, now that I think about it, it sounds like they're going to put the Netflix back in the Netflix Marvel shows. Because that's what the Netflix Marvel shows were.
They were their own little happy little
They were the street level heroes that had a lower threat level.
I told you they're going to stick. Echo is supposed to be the first one. They're going to put Daredevil in that. Ironheart is probably going to be in there.
I just feel like it's a waste of Ironheart. She's supposed to be like the new Iron Man. You're going to stick her street level?
But she's not. Where does she fit in the bigger picture?
She's supposed to be the Young Avengers.
Do you really think they're doing Young Avengers now?
I think so.
No, scrap. It's gone. It's out of here. I don't think so. With the backlash they done got for everything else, I do not think Young Avengers. People want X-Men. Fantastic Four.
That's the whole point of the
Doctor
Agatha.
Strange back. We want to see Wanda back. We do not want to see Young Avengers.
That's the whole, unless they're scrapping Agatha.
No, they're not gonna scrap it
because that's the whole point of that show is to introduce one of the Young Avengers. The Young Avenger dude is supposed to be in Captain America 4.
Listen, I think they about to B-plot all of them.
You still have
Beeline.
You still have Kate Bishop, Hawkeye. You still have America and Doctor Strange. Like they can't say they're not doing it and still sprinkle them in everywhere.
That's all they're gonna be. It's sprinkles on the cupcake. But the cupcake,
that's the issue.
The cupcake is gonna
stop
be the
wasting
good thing.
time on sprinkles. You don't have the money for sprinkles. Stop. If you're not going to do anything with it, don't sprinkle them.
I'm not going to totally disagree with you.
I feel like if you're going to stick Ironheart street level, then scrap her. Because you can't put somebody with Tony Stark level technology and be like, oh, well, she's fighting Kingpin. That makes zero sense whatsoever.
I could be assuming incorrectly, but I think that they are going to use this to be their what did James Gunn call it? Well, it's not really Elseworld because they're the characters.
No, MCU don't have Elseworlds.
They don't need it. Please don't create an Elseworld. But it's going to be like a sub thing that's going on that's not going to be connected. I think they're going to further maybe separate out these movies and TV shows.
That's fine.
We'll see.
Bring back Jessica Jones. Bring back the good ones that already had existing fan bases that people will watch, but
do it right. Don't
do
just
it right.
Bring it back and be like,
spend less time gambling on the maybes.
Yeah. But I thought that was actually interesting, and I don't know, whatever they can do to kind of bring back that. They just need to bring back the juice. Just bring back the juice, Marvel.
Okay. So that is all of the news we have for the week. We're going to take a short break, and then we're going to get into our movie review for The Burial.
Okay, so this week we watched The Burial. It was a Amazon Prime movie. I think it was in theaters for like a week or so.
Okay.
Like they did that thing. But it was released October 6, 2023. It is directed by Maggie Betts. I looked her up, and this seems to be her most well-known movie. She's directed a couple other movies before, but they were not super recognizable to me. But Maggie Betts, she's a Black woman, by the way. It stars Jamie Foxx, Tommy Lee Jones, Journey Smollett, Alan Ruck, and Mamadou Athie, who is also from Elemental. So all the other
and Jurassic Park.
And Jurassic Park, you are right. Runtime 2 hours and 6 minutes. A budget of $32.5 million, which is so funny to see movies with this low of a budget. Because normally we review movies that's like $100 million. No box office that I'm aware of, or I didn't find any box office figures. So there is no cinema score. And Rotten Tomatoes, for critics, it had a 91%, and audience, it had an 83%. Fun fact, if you didn't already know, this movie was inspired by true events. So this case that the movie is centered on actually did happen. Everything down to like the case and the outcome of the case is accurate. And of course, some of the characters, Tommy Lee Jones and Jamie Foxx's character, are also true. So it's inspired by true events because the director did take some directing liberties and change up a little things. There's a title card at the end of the movie where it says inspired by true events, but some scenes and people and characters have been created for dramatization. So you can definitely read about how the actual trial went, but you want to summarize the plots? You want me to do that?
I can summarize the plot.
Okay.
So the plot is about Tommy Lee Jones, who is an owner of a set of funeral homes.
Yes, his name is Edward O'Keefe.
Yes, he's the owner of a set of funeral homes, is suing his parent company.
So he is suing, so he owns funeral homes and insurance and a burial insurance group. He's in financial trouble and he reaches out to I'm trying to think, what do I want to call it? A Disney.
A lender.
Yeah. He reaches out to a Disney that has their own funeral homes and insurance companies for burials in order for them to buy some of his properties to help him get out of his financial situation.
Right.
And they're called Lowen. I can't think of their full name. Lowen Group of some sort. That was their name.
So he's suing them basically because they're putting him out of business.
Mm-hmm.
And he decides to hire Jamie Foxx.
Willie Gary is the real character's name.
Mm-hmm. And his legal team to represent him because not only does the case take place in the South, it is primarily involved are Black people who were customers of Tommy Lee Jones funeral home services, but were also scammed out of their money by this Lowen group.
Right, which you don't find out until later. They don't really, which I feel like they could have added that into, we'll get into what we thought about the movie. But the reason why Tommy Lee Jones sue is because they make a contract deal for them to buy the funeral homes, like 3 funeral homes.
Right, and that's why I thought they were his parent company at that point.
No, Tommy Lee Jones' character, O'Keefe, owned the Ape himself. It was a family business.
Okay.
So
they just literally just gave him a loan.
Well, they didn't give him a loan. The agreement was for them to buy the 3 funeral homes and to not sell insurance in the area Tommy Lee Jones' character was in.
Gotcha.
Tommy Lee Jones' character, O'Keefe, signed the contract, but the Lowen group did not. So they kept doing what they were doing, selling insurance where Tommy Lee Jones' character was going to sell it. Basically they were dragging it out with their end of the deal because they never signed the contract. And Tommy Lee Jones' character was like, hey, 1, where's the money? 2, why are you selling insurance in my area when we agreed to not? So the trial was basically about a breach of contract, with the Lowen group saying there was no contract because we didn't sign it.
And Jamie Foxx, lots of Oscar-winning Jamies.
Right.
Jamie Foxx plays the Black lawyer with heart,
right?
Who's
Charisma.
able to see below the surface of the case. Right.
So the interesting part is Willie Gary was not a contract lawyer.
No, and they say that in the beginning of the movie.
Right. So he thought it was odd that they were coming to him because he didn't do contract law. He only did like injury cases and whatnot. And he was all about, big payouts. And originally O'Keefe was only wanting $8 million or something like that.
But when he realized the principle of the matter.
Right. And Willie Gary was like, nah, we need to go. He's a go big or go home type of lawyer.
Sue them for everything they got type of lawyer.
Pretty much. And he's a very well-off lawyer too. Black lawyer. So that is pretty much the plot, is about the case, but also some of the like racial undertones, racial discrimination. And then it's very much a big guy, David and Goliath type of law story.
Yeah.
For sure. Let's talk about the people who are in the movie. Tommy Lee Jones plays O'Keefe. We said that.
Yep.
Jamie Foxx plays Willie Gary. Journey Smollett plays a lawyer on the
Defense side?
the Lowen group. Her actual character did not exist in real life.
No.
She was made up. There is Hal, who Mamadou plays. He did exist, or he's based off a person who actually existed. Alan Ruck plays Hal is on O'Keefe's side, part of the legal team. Alan Ruck plays a lawyer that's been Tommy Lee Jones' lawyer for like all his life, the character for all his life.
Mm-hmm. But he wants him to work with Jamie Lee Foxx, who's the lead lawyer. Right.
And he also, O'Keefe's main lawyer wants to settle. Like, he don't want to go to trial. He's like, dude, just settle. He is also based on a real person. And then there's a bunch of side characters that are also in the movie. Like Willie Gary's wife, she existed. He was actually married with kids and all that.
Yes.
What?
You talking about Tommy Lee Jones' wife?
I ain't gotten to her, but yes, she also existed. And she's played by a popular actress who I didn't list initially, but she's been in a bunch of stuff too.
She's Marlene Griggs Nope.
Oh, she's Leslie Knope's mom.
From Parks and Recreation.
It took me a second.
Yes.
It's so funny because I'm looking at her in this movie like, I know you are from something.
Yes.
And I don't know what, because I didn't want to look it up while I was watching it. Because
she is a Pawnee resident, Marlene Griggs Nope, who is the mom of Leslie Knope. I really liked her character on Parks and Recreation.
Yeah, she plays Tommy Lee Jones' character's wife in this. So out of those,
and I didn't realize that till the end of the movie.
That was his wife?
I didn't realize that who she was. It didn't dawn on me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Out of those characters, who would you say you liked? And is there anybody you didn't like?
Characters that I liked. I liked all of the characters pretty much. They all fit at some point of the movie. Jamie Lee Foxx's character was good. I mean, main characters. Jamie Lee Foxx's character, of course, is good. You're calling
him Jamie Lee Foxx, by the way.
JamieLee Foxx?
Yeah, you didn't make up a new person.
I just watched...
you had to watch a Halloween movie.
I watched Halloween Resurrection yesterday.
Oh, okay. I'm like, who is Jamie Lee Foxx?
So, shortcut Jamie Lee Curtis is on my mind. Jamie Foxx.
There we go.
His character is good. Tommy Lee Jones. His character
that's also probably why you're doing that. Yes.
Yes, true. His character is good. Journey Smollett, I would say maybe it's between her and Jamie Foxx as my favorite characters. Okay. And I think that's just because they're doing the most acting.
They are. I would agree with you there.
Alan Ruck, I would say I didn't dislike him, but he's my least favorite character.
Okay.
And Mamadou Athie was, okay, he was good. Yeah. Was there anybody you did not like?
I didn't like Journey Smollett's character.
You didn't?
She was doing the most. And I don't know whether she was doing the most because her character, I think the fact that her character was made up and most other people in the movie's character, like main characters, weren't. They had somebody to draw from. Like they had, like Jamie Lee Foxx apparently didn't spend a whole time with the actual Willie Gary, but he at least had somebody to go to because Jamie Lee Foxx wanted to kind of add his own spin. Mm-hmm. Tommy Lee Jones went back to like the family and the community that O'Keefe is from. So he had a little backstory he could pull from, kind of maybe similar with the other existing characters. But because maybe she didn't exist, she had to like make up a personality.
And she pulled from Annalise Keating.
Okay. She did a little too. It was okay. Then she was I hate to say it. I don't want to say she's cosplaying Annalise. It just seemed like extra. Like, girl, this is like, I get maybe because Jamie Foxx's was more charismatic with his, and she was more kind of like just rude and unnecessary.
I liked her.
If the goal was for her to come off as like, you know, the hard-nosed, ridiculous defense lawyer, then she nailed it. I'll give it that.
It was her and Jamie Foxx. It was sweet and sour. It was Jamie Lee Foxx was sweet, and she was the sour.
There you go. Okay,
and I didn't dislike her, but she was the villain.
It was just one. For some scenes, I'm like, girl, calm down.
She was technically the villain.
Yeah, you're right.
But
working for the white man.
And she knew it. And I think that also added to her character that she's a black woman who's working for the white man.
Right. Yeah, you're right.
Who has been affecting black people negatively.
Right,
and
based on how she does.
She has to like bury that to do her job, which was very lawyery. It reminded me of The courtroom scenes weren't my favorite in the movie,
I would agree.
but they were the best scenes to me. They're the most interesting scenes to me, even though they were not the best scenes because they were just a little too basic.
Yeah.
And too light. I like legal dramas and legal stories where it's so complex that I don't know what's going on. And I feel like if I understand too much going on, if I'm looking at this court case and I understand it a little bit too clearly, then it's like, oh, this is less interesting because I know nothing about law.
Right.
So if this is simple for me, then it's not
a
great case.
Okay.
But I thought that was the best. Those were the best parts of the movie because it was kind of like Law and Order courtroom vibe.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Jamie Foxx gave me Jack for sure.
No, he did not give me Jack. Well, he was too nice. It back.
He gave me
Journey gave me Jack.
How can I say it? Jamie Foxx gave me like if Jack was a funny charisma guy, like charismatic guy. Mm-hmm. But he was good. Like Jack was good and Jamie Foxx was good. I don't know if I consider Journey Smollett's lawyer character good.
I think you haven't seen Law and Order in a long time. Jack
was good at his job.
Jack got a lot of great. And Journey was great at her job too.
Was she great?
She was good. She had them sweating until the end. But we're getting into spoiler territory. But okay, so Journey was your least favorite character.
I hate to say it because she's like the main woman character, but
you think it was her character or was it the acting?
I don't think it was her character. I don't think it was the acting. I think all the acting in the movie was pretty good, except some of the side characters. Like his wife's portrayal was a little choppy. It was a little choppy.
I thought she was the worst character in the whole movie.
Okay, then we agree on that.
Because I don't know. It was kind of like the movie is a comedy, but she was playing like a sitcom character.
Like the soaps.
Like her character was missing like a laugh track or a live audience or something because it was just kind of like her line delivery was just a little bit weird. We agree there. Her portrayal, it just didn't seem like you were a real person. She didn't seem like this is not how a real person acts.
I think that was the acting. Like, I don't think that was the character.
I think the direction that she was given was
what?
Because we're not told if she has an occupation or not.
No.
So she's like, we're giving the impression that she's a stay-at-home mom.
Yeah, like a housewife.
Because he's rich and he makes, they're rich because he makes the money winning the legal cases.
Yeah.
So I think the direction that she was given was supposed to be like, oh, you're supposed to just be like the flighty, rich stay-at-home mom that's kind of like out of touch with reality because everything in your house is like nicely decorated.
The scene towards the end that she had with just Tommy Lee Jones was probably her best. And that wasn't good. Best 30 seconds of the movie for her character. But everything else, I was like, why did y'all pair her? It's interesting she got the role paired next to Jamie Foxx, who was like acting circles around her saying nothing. I'm gonna hold any other comment about her performance until after we get into spoiler because I don't want to spoil it. Okay. But yeah, I agree. Now that I think of it, I totally forgot she was in the movie. That's funny because I didn't. She was because I was like, what? Her character was just bad. It wasn't. Yeah. Okay. She was my least favorite character. So we agree. Journey Smollett was definitely better than her. Side character that stood out, I think, was Mamadou Athie. He did a really good job. He's starting to get a little too consistent. What that mean? With his character, because this could have been the same character he played in Jurassic Park a little bit. Oh, you're right. Yeah, he didn't play the same. This is different from Elemental. Yeah, okay. So this wasn't voice acting. He sounded the same. He does sound the same. Well, he sounded the same as he did in Elemental a little bit. And he doesn't have that distinctive a voice. True. But once you know what he sounds like, you can kind of identify who he is. You're right. He was cool. He was a good side character, and they gave him things to do. He had a lot of individual scenes where he went to talk to townspeople about the case and whatnot. He did good there. I did like his performances. Surprise performances? None. Nah. I was trying to pick out not his stooges, but the people who worked on his legal team. I was trying to pick out a favorite amongst them, and none of them really stood out. None of them stood out, and then there was one point in the movie I was like, whatever. Yeah. I literally was just like, whatever. Right. Okay. But yeah, the side characters were there. Tommy Lee Jones and Jamie Foxx definitely are like head and shoulders above everybody else in this movie, in my opinion. So, anything non-spoilery we want to discuss before we hop into it and bust out our notes?
No, this movie was not very complex, so
it was not. All right, so 4, 3, 2, 1. Spoiler zone.
So I don't think we said if we liked the movie or not. Did you like the movie?
Yes.
Okay.
I thought about it. Now, I will say, if you asked me this yesterday, I might have been, but it's a good, feel-good movie.
That's true. I did not dislike the movie.
Uh-oh.
But I did not like the movie.
So it's just a movie for you.
It's just a movie.
I liked it. Would I ever sit and watch it again?
And I know exactly why I would not.
No, I would not sit and watch it again. But if people were like, "Oh, I was going to check out The Bear," I'm like, "Oh, it was a cool movie." Why would you say you don't like, or you don't have?
So two things.
Indifferent.
I'm very indifferent.
Okay.
And it's not because it's a bad movie. I do think it's a good movie. I would never watch this movie again because I don't have to.
I mean, you know what happens.
I would not have watched this movie had you not recommended we do it for the show.
We have nothing else to
There's
watch.
nothing else to watch. So it was literally. We would have stopped our episode.
I was curious about watching it when we talked about it coming out, and the trailer looked good, but I probably wouldn't have watched it this soon.
The reason I'm indifferent is because, and I put this in my notes because which note is this? This is note number 2.
Okay. Oh.
This reminds me of being in school, and the social studies teacher doesn't have a lesson for the day, so they wheel in the TV and they put on an educational yet inspirational movie for the class to watch while they grade papers. This is one of those movies. This movie is Stand By Me. This movie is Dangerous Minds. This movie is...
Wait. You're going to say this movie is as good as Dangerous Minds?
No, this is the same type of movie.
Okay, I got you.
It's Stand By Me. It's Jaime or Michelle Pfeiffer in a leather jacket teaching school students about values. It's Remember the Titans.
It is a values.
It's Samuel Jackson telling an inner city school full of multicultural teenagers life lessons. It's the sister act.
Okay.
It's them
Okay.
them recruiting Sister Mary Clarence to come down to teach the kids at the nunnery.
I ain't gonna disagree.
This is definitely one of those movies that they put on in school, which teaches you something.
Yes, there was a lesson.
But is age appropriate. Minus the N-words, because they do say the N-word a lot.
Which actually not shocked me, but I was like,
they do curse.
Yes,
they definitely use a full range of curse words in the movie. But it's definitely one of those movies where it's, you know what, I'll even go as far as to say it's that movie. It's the movie where they wheel in the TV and you know you're about to watch something that you've seen like at least once per grade, because every teacher needs one of those days where I really need to grade these papers because I'm behind, so you don't have to watch this movie. Mm-hmm. I'll even go as far as to say it's one of those movies where, because of the cursing, you ever had one of those instances where you're in class watching the movie and the teacher or the sub kind of knows that it's a little bit not age appropriate, so they will turn it off when the principal stops by randomly to see how the class is going. They'll pause it because before they say the N-word or curse. It's one of those movies.
But don't y'all tell nobody that said that.
And that's why I was like, oh, that's why I'm indifferent, because this feels like
you feel like you're sitting in class.
This feels like one of them filler movies that you don't even finish. Because class is only 45 minutes, so you make it to the good part of the movie, and then the bell rings.
Yep, and you never get to watch the rest of it.
If this was one of those, and this is one of those movies I think that they would put on in school today.
Sure, why not?
Because you need something to watch the kids.
I definitely was like, this was a movie for streaming.
It was absolutely a movie for streaming.
It was not a theater production. I mean, the budget is like $30 million. So clearly, I feel like if they had a little more budget, they would have used different actors. Probably. They probably would have fleshed out more of Jamie Foxx's character's backstory, Tommy Lee Jones' backstory. So some of that felt like it was missing, even though the movie's 2 hours long.
They even had the Cicely Tyson moments where the guy.
You talking about when his wife was trying to encourage him or something?
His wife is not Cicely Tyson.
I mean, she not.
I meant they had the on this land moment.
Oh, they did.
Where the guy takes them out to the unmarked cemetery to show them where all the slaves are buried. And I'm like, oh wow, this even has the inspirational like black people moment that's specific to us.
There's one scene where his wife is trying to give him like a pep talk, and it's it's not the end. It's kind of right in the middle of the movie.
Is this when he makes the phone call
on the roof?
Oh, that was the worst acting I've ever seen from anybody my entire life.
I was like, okay, so we know they're not on the phone talking to each other because the way Jamie Foxx is doing it,
and maybe they should have.
It's like Jamie Foxx can act.
Maybe he should have been on the other line.
We're not questioning Jamie Foxx's acting, but it was clear the woman was not talking to Jamie Foxx.
She needed somebody to read her lines with for that scene.
She was like, that scene was the most awkward Jamie Foxx movie scene I have ever seen.
I shuddered.
It was weird.
Because when she was like,
so
when
weird.
he's telling her, I got fired.
And she's like, huh?
And she's like, and for the first couple of seconds of the phone call, you don't really see her. You just hear her over the voice. And even hearing her, I was like, this is unconvincing. Because when he's like,
why was he on a roof?
He's telling her like, I got replaced. She's like, what?
Yeah.
I don't know what does that mean? I'm like, girl, what do you think it means? You are so far into your wealth that you know what it means when he says he's gotten replaced on the case at some point. So
and my thing was just kind of like he's still on the case. The way that scene went, you would think that he got fired.
He was being sent home.
He wasn't on the case. I was like, he's still on the.
His take home is going to be a little less. He's not going to be the cover of the trial, but I mean the trial isn't getting national attention.
It wasn't going good anyway at that point. Regardless.
Yeah.
So that whole conversation, I was like, is he getting dropped from the whole case? But he was still there.
And his legal team was still there. Right. Was still going to be there.
They were taking over. So I was just like, that whole scene was so awkward to me that I was just
and then the scene just kind of ends because
I don't know if it's the directing, if it's the acting, or it's both.
It's kind of like the director realized that the scene wasn't going well because the scene kind of just ends where we don't even get to the end of the phone call. And he's just on the roof in the dark, telling her about how he feels bad, how he got replaced. And she's like, oh, you really care about this man, don't you? I'm like, why are we still here on this phone conversation?
It almost seems like the phone conversation got chopped out because they jumped from him being fired to him really caring about Tommy Lee Jones' character to next scene.
I was like, this was a bad scene. So that was the one scene I was like, let's wait till we get to spoilers because I think that was the worst, one of the worst scenes of acting I've ever seen. We'll file this section under what we liked and what we didn't like about the movie. And that scene, they could have cut it. And they literally could have chopped it. I don't know enough about her as the actress, so I don't want to give her too much like flack. It could just be the writing
I'm about to look her
and
up
the direction because I couldn't recognize her from anything else. So if you can pull her from something where she was also good in,
let me see.
I absolutely will believe it without a doubt. But this was a bad character and a bad performance. It was not good.
But she was okay. So what did we like about the movie? Let's turn the time.
Like I think it was a good movie. I think the dialogue was good. Some of it. Most of Jamie Foxx's dialogue was good.
I liked all of Jamie Foxx.
I liked all of the courtroom scenes. I really enjoy the dinner scene. That was the best scene for me.
My favorite scene was, and we going all out of order of our thing, but it don't matter. When Jamie Foxx was telling us, or Willie Gary was telling a story about how him and his family moved for him to go to law school, and when they got to the place where they thought they had an apartment, the guy was like, oh, we don't have any vacancies, and that was kind of pushed him to be the lawyer that he was. Mm-hmm. That was probably my favorite scene because it reminded me of, to bring up our favorite MCU show, Secret Invasion, where Fury told the story of his grandma.
Keep on pushing.
Yeah, his grandma and how she could tell that he was
oh no, keep on pushing. Sorry.
Keep on pushing.
Keep on pushing was Winter Soldier. He had two different stories.
Oh yeah.
Keep on stepping was Winter Soldier. The
Secret Invasion was
Tell Me Something I Don't Know.
Yes, Tell Me Something I Don't Know.
Yeah.
So I like it gave me a Tell Me Something I Don't Know because it's like a black character telling a story. The lesson is in the story, but it's like a historical story that's kind of showing the signs of the times and the lessons and how they kind of came out of it. Mm-hmm. So that was my favorite scene.
Yeah, my favorite scene was the lawyer dinner scene. I liked how they both. I like it. That especially reminded me of Law and Order because there's always a scene in the Law and Order episode where Jack takes whoever his legal assistant out to dinner, and they talk about the case.
Okay.
But they're also kind of like talking about themselves as well.
Okay.
I like that scene. We got to see them talk about their courtroom strategies a little bit, and then we also got to see them talking about how there was news coverage playing on TV in the restaurant about People versus O.J. Simpson.
Oh yes, that did come up in
and
the movie a
how
couple of times. Because
Jamie Foxx's character had a dream about beating Johnny Cochran.
or being like Johnny Cochran.
Well, it was about beating him.
Oh, because they were saying, would you be the defense or
Yeah.
would you be the prosecution?
Yeah,
Right.
about being a prosecutor
right.
against Johnny Cochran.
Well, that was one of the things, and we don't know if this is real or not, where the character Hal was trying to convince Jamie Foxx to take the case because originally he was like, I'm not interested in this case at all. But he was like, what if you could be like the next Johnny Cochran? And he was like, and that's kind of that was what makes Willie Geary even want to take the case. Is he's more thinking about probably not only the payout, but like what kind of notoriety he can get if he beats this Loman group, because they're like the Disney of funeral homes.
So Jamie Foxx agrees to take the case for Tommy Lee Jones. We get a couple segments of them interviewing Tommy Lee Jones, gathering the information, going into the courtroom. They meet Journey Smollett.
Actually, they met her earlier than I thought they were going to in the movie.
They met her, but we don't get her first courtroom scene until after they have the sit-down dinner where they formally like meet and talk to each other. Right.
So they do have, they're cordial in the movie, which I like that. I like that the movie wasn't like them going at it like at a personal level.
It's professional competition.
Correct.
Yeah.
They kept it professional, and I'm glad they didn't take it there because they definitely could have. So I like that.
And like I said earlier, Jamie Foxx is the sweet, Journey Smollett is the sour. So he is all about winning his court cases, of course, with the facts, but being a lot more charismatic. And swooning the jury,
right?
And the
it
judge.
Doesn't go well initially.
And her strategy is to just go in there, guns blazing,
whoever on
guns blazing, and
like,
just
girl, calm down,
cutthroat. And she definitely. And it's funny because she would typically in a TV drama, she would be the prosecutor.
Right.
But she was the one on the defense. Usually the prosecutor is the sword and the defense is the shield. She was sword and shield.
Yes.
And Jamie Foxx,
her side.
and made Jamie Foxx kind of look like court jester a little bit in the courtroom.
Correct. So that I think that might have been the middle part of the movie where Jamie Foxx is taking off lead of the case. Tommy Lee Jones is like, you playing around too much, you doing too much posturing. So he makes his original lawyer lead, and that's where we have the scene where we said we did not.
So he makes Alan Ruck the lead prosecutor.
Right, who also gets tore up on stand by sword and shield.
Yes, Journey Smollett coming there with sword and shield, just tearing through his entire legal team. So we end up, through the movie, as Jamie Foxx's team is gathering more evidence to help Tommy Lee Jones win the case, they find out that the Loan Group has been running a scam basically on the black people in the community.
They struck a deal, and I'm putting deal in quotes because when they say the numbers of the transactions, you're like, this wasn't no deal. With the Black Baptist Convention. I can't think of the name. But there's basically a convention of all the Black Baptist churches, and the Loman Group makes a shady deal, scam, with that group of churches.
Well, yeah. So first, before we find out that they made a deal with the churches,
Baptist National Convention. There it is.
Yes, the NBC. Before we find out that they made a deal with the NBC, one of their former employees on the stand, and she said that the group was already hiking up the prices for insurance and for services in black communities,
black and poor communities,
poor communities.
So they were already being shysty.
The name of the game was to scam black people and scam poor people from the beginning.
Correct.
They get the NBC involved because they know that most black people who live in the South are some denomination of Christian. So
and they're going to believe their religious leaders.
They recruit, right, and they believe they're religious leaders. So they recruit the reverends of the churches to be insurance salesmen.
Basically, to be insurance
to their
salesmen
congregations.
for the insurance, right? For the insurance that Loman is selling.
Mm-hmm.
And it sounded like they were trying to do it before people were before people were dead, and then on people's deathbed.
Yeah.
Which is real shady.
So they were using the reverends to push insurance policies on their congregation to be taken out on the congregation's loved ones prior to their deaths, to help funnel money into the loan group and to also upcharge them after death for funeral services.
Correct. So they were selling them like cheap coffins, but marking up the price 3 times.
And they made $1.2 billion out of this deal.
And they paid the Baptist National the convention.
The NBC.
Right. $200,000?
$200,000
yes.
in return for helping them amass $1.2 billion in wealth.
Right. And I like Jamie Foxx's portrayal in this part because he was like, oh, 1.2 million? He's like, no, billion. Oh, you mean billion?
Yeah, once they start uncovering the deeper conspiracy, my interest in the court case ramps up even more because they start asking like the real questions.
Which is interesting because that's literally the last 20 minutes of the movie.
Yeah, which is the last 20 minutes of the movie. The rest of the courtroom, they're just getting the floor wiped with them. You mentioned the scene where Jamie Foxx gets replaced and Alan Ruck, who's the original lead prosecutor, who's the one white guy on Tommy Lee Jones' legal team, gets put back in the lead position, and he's doing cross-examination.
Oh, you might be getting to the other scene I didn't like. Go ahead.
He's doing cross-examination on the witness stand. I forgot who he's interviewing, asking an irrelevant question, which Journey Smollett gets struck from the jury's having to consider.
Right. Who was he talking to?
And then he gets put on the witness stand
because he was at the play. He was there when the contract was made between O'Keefe and Lowen.
So he is a witness. So he has to take the witness stand. Journey Smollett gets up there, and she reveals that his Alan Ruck, who's the lead prosecutor for Tommy Lee Jones, is the descendant of a Klansman.
Klan's leader of some sort.
Klan's leader. His great-grandfather.
He in the KKK.
Well, his grandfather, not great-grandfather. His grandfather.
Yeah, just one line up.
Was a racist.
2 lines up, I guess.
And was in the KKK. And this is a court case taking place in the South. The jury is black.
I think the jury is all black. It looks
There's like one non-black person, I think,
it's
on the jury.
It's majority black for sure.
It's majority black jury, and the theater is mostly filled with black people.
Yes.
Like the courtroom theater.
They purposely have the case in the South.
In the South.
Yes.
And it involves a lot of black people. It involves a lot of black lives. So when they find out that the lead prosecutor, who's supposed to be doing this for the people, because Tommy Lee Jones' thing, he's
they try to paint him as a
They paint him as a white savior. That's what Journey Smollett, putting Lee in everybody's name. That's what Journey Smollett paints him as, the white savior to the black people, because he goes around and he does charity for a lot of black people. They find out that his lead prosecutor is a descendant of KKK member who he won't renounce.
No, he doesn't. He actually...
Because he's like, oh, well, that's my granddaddy. So
like a typical racist person would say.
Yeah. So that turns the case on its head. And then we get to one of the funniest lines to me.
Okay, which one was that? Because I was like, I think the next scene is a scene I didn't like.
So the next scene we get is Jamie Foxx. Everybody's the lead. I'm just gonna keep doing it. Lee Foxx.
We're not editing that out.
Jamie Lee Foxx and Tommy Lee Jones and his team of prosecutors are confronting the one white prosecutor who is a descendant of the KKK and are asking him to renounce his grandfather. He's like, I'm not going to do that because he's still my granddaddy. Yeah. And Jamie Foxx lets it go because he's like, he can't help what his granddaddy did.
Yeah, I didn't like this scene only because I'm like, are y'all really about, because all his lawyers leave.
Yeah, and I didn't get the fact that all his lawyers left. That was dumb.
Maybe it wasn't the whole scene I didn't like, but I didn't like the fact that the lawyers was like, I'm out of here. Like, y'all not gonna get paid? Like, what are we doing here?
That takes me to another one of my notes.
Okay.
So they all leave.
Yeah, all the black Jamie Foxx's
black legal team that he brought with him from Florida leave to go back because they're like, the case isn't going well.
Right.
And then we get to...
And we don't want to mess with the Klan.
The funniest line in the movie to me. Even though I know it wasn't the funniest line. There were two funny lines in this scene. The first funny line was when one of the legal team members is leaving. And Jamie Foxx asked him, what's taking you so long? He's like, I got one question for you. He's like, what? He's like, what's taking you so long to get out the door?
Yes. That was funny.
That was funny, but that was
clear. Jamie Foxx's character's like, go. I don't care.
That was not the funniest line. To me, the funniest line was when the last stooge left the room. And he was like, I'm getting too old for this. And I thought about earlier in the movie when him and Journey Smollett are at dinner and they're talking about the People versus OJ case. And this is what my notes was like. He was like, I'm getting too old for this. And I'm like, Johnny Cochran was 57. Johnny Cochran was 57 years old he was 60.
Somewhere around there.
Defending O.J. Simpson in the People versus O.J. trial. He was 60 years old. And you're in this case that has no national attention.
None.
Literally, it's
not yet anyway.
There's no stress surrounding this at all. And you're a lawyer. So my question was like, at what age does being a lawyer become too stressful? Because Johnny Cochran is fighting for his life. And he got him off.
Not only this, Jamie Foxx hadn't lost a court case in 12 years.
Yeah.
So too old for what?
So y'all had like and nobody knew about this case. This case didn't have, it had
They weren't even going to take it.
It was in a very small town. So it had town-wide attention.
Probably barely.
But y'all probably won't even take this home with y'all if you lose it.
No.
Because this is just one case in one small town.
Tommy
they
Lee
had
Jones
to come.
said
they came to find y'all. Y'all the famous ones.
Right. Tommy Lee Jones' character said, if you lose this, you just go back home.
And he's like, I'm getting too old for this. I'm like, you're not even. You don't even look like you're as old as Johnny Cochran.
That scene was weird.
How are you too old to be a lawyer? I'm getting too old for the stress of the courtroom.
That scene was weird. And then the fact that the white lawyer also quits in the same scene. I'm like, y'all really just gonna rush this, huh? Y'all just
no. They absolutely just needed to get all of the extra characters out of the.
So Jamie Foxx could go back to being the lead lawyer.
So they could close this up and wrap it up nice and tight by the end.
I was like, all y'all leaving at once don't make no type of logical sense, but let's keep this movie.
And I thought they would give them more to do through the movie.
No, they did not have more to do at all.
I thought they were going to do like the Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs thing where, it's a lot of dwarves, but if you give them them a little something to do or show them a unique reason for it. This is why we keep this member on the team.
Right.
This dude does this. This dude knows how to get.
At least 5 of them.
I feel like Mamadou Athie was doing a lot more work than the entire rest of them.
Yes.
So absolutely get them out of here. Yeah. They probably shouldn't even have been here. I see why they gave him an entourage.
It was cute.
It fits Jamie Foxx's character to have an entourage of legal people behind him, but they didn't do too much with them. Right. So.
And there was also other random white guys like doing the research and stuff. So they had enough people. Yeah,
and maybe that's just how it goes. I think with big corporations and when there's a lot of money involved, you have a team of lawyers. But
but his team leave, and I was like, well, gone. That's when earlier when I said it was just whatever, that this was my just whatever moment.
What's taking you so long to get out the door? I was like, yeah, exactly. Come on, because we reaching the last 45 minutes and y'all have not done too much here. So
not much of anything. So that was my scene earlier when I said some of these side characters, I was just like, whatever. That was my whatever moment.
So after they leave, the rest of the movie kind of just is on rails. Like it's on a track. You can see where it goes after that.
It goes how you think it goes. So they go back to the courtroom. We do the whole scene where they get Lowen, the CEO guy, on the stand.
Well, before that, they get.
Oh yeah, we find out about
what they've been doing with the reverends in the congregation. Yep. So they get all of the community members who were members of these churches who were affected by this scam to be witnesses. And we get like a montage of all of their testimonies about one group doing the same thing, basically selling them insurance that they can't afford or selling them insurance that does nothing when it's time to actually bury their loved ones.
Selling them like coffins or headstones and marking up the price.
Exactly.
Yep.
Yeah.
So we get that little montage of them testifying in court. Mm-hmm. And then we get the Lowen CEO on the stand. And Jamie Foxx basically obliterates him pretty much.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
it's the standard cross examination of a rich guy who's on the witness stand in a courtroom full of people that he scammed money out of, and they're
looking like a fool.
They're like nailing them to the cross and burning them alive.
Now, I actually thought Jamie Foxx's line of questioning was gonna go different. So Jamie Foxx, Willie Gary asked the CEO of Lowen, who I don't remember what his name is. It don't matter. He keeps asking him how much he paid for his boat. And the guy's like, I don't know. And he's he's obviously annoyed. At one point, he almost walks off the stand.
Because rich people like to show everything that they've bought for, but they don't like to talk about how much they paid
He
for.
obviously doesn't want to say how much he spent for this boat, because obviously we know how much. And I thought Jamie Foxx was going to say, if you don't remember how much you spent for a boat, then how can you remember the things that happened that night of the contract that you said that you didn't sign? I thought that was where he was going to go, but he actually goes to, you have this $25 million boat. You are standing to make $1.2 billion off these poor and black people. Do you feel bad about it?
And then you're also making Tommy Lee Jones the one.
Right.
The scapegoat.
Because he's the one that's actually burying these people's families. But what Willie Gary is basically trying to highlight is that he did all of this. The Lowen CEO did all of this and did not care. And that's what turns the
And
tides.
he says it. And I like the fact that I enjoy a villain who's a villain.
He definitely ramped it up towards the end.
Because when Jamie Foxx was like, did it ever cross your mind what you were doing? Did you care? And he was like, no.
Right. And he pretty much
he's
said
a villain to the end.
So that was pretty much showing that he was guilty.
He had his Cersei moment.
Right. That was pretty much showing that the jury was like, oh, you done effed up. We basically gonna convict you. And then they get into another scene that I have a note about is they want to settle. So now they want to settle with Tommy Lee Jones because they know they pretty much have lost. And my note says they're at a table. The defense is on one side. The prosecution is on the other side. I think Jamie Foxx is sitting in the middle of the table. And they start passing back and forth numbers on a piece of paper of what the settlement is going to be. And I'm like, did y'all really need to write this on paper? Can y'all just say the number out loud? Like, why are we doing this?
I think they do that so that...
Do they do that in real life?
I think they do that in real life because I was like, this is strange. Why do they have to do that?
I was like, why are we writing down a number?
And they do that because writing it down is the only way to 100% confirm that everybody at the table has seen this number and they agree. It's not the same if you just
misheard it or something.
Right, because then it's like,
I guess that's kind of how this whole lawsuit started.
It becomes a word of mouth thing, and they're like, no, we have to actually put this on paper.
Okay, that makes more sense. But I did like that scene. I did particularly like everybody in that particular scene because it's Jamie Foxx, it's Journey Smollett, it's the Lowen CEO, and it's also Tommy Lee Jones and his wife are all in that scene together.
And that's where I put my note. Just realize Mama Nope is Tommy Lee's wife.
that is literally like the last 15 minutes, which is hilarious. But I like that scene. But basically, Tommy Lee Jones' character doesn't take the
choose not to settle.
2 numbers. They give him 2 numbers. They choose not to settle. They go back to court. Obviously, we already know how this is going to pan out. Tommy Lee Jones' character, O'Keefe, basically is awarded his settlement.
He wins $100 million for the case and then $400 million in damages.
Punitive damages. So he gets $500 million altogether. But you want to know a fun fact?
What?
They fought it. The Lowen group fought it.
Right, because I think in the... There's a epilogue.
A title card. Yes.
Yeah.
They actually fought it and they ended up settling for $175 million.
Yeah, so they settled for a lot less than that.
They settled for a lot less, but Tommy Lee Jones, or in the movie, the original amount was $100 million. So he got more. Actually, they started out at $8 million. And then Willie Gary was like, "No, we going for $100 million." So they got more than what they originally asked for.
Yeah, and I think the way that works is you still get on the record that you won $500 million. If they fight it, he still gets on his, I don't know what you...
Record?
I'm thinking like
If
Pokemon.
you are a
He
lawyer,
still has the gym badge.
please comment and correct us.
He
if
still
we are
gets
wrong.
he still gets the Pokemon gym badge on his legal jacket that says you won a case of $500 million.
Right.
So it doesn't go away just because they settled later on.
So that they basically Tommy Lee Jones' character wins at the end. Not the initial amount that was awarded, but he does get a smooth $175 million.
Richer than when he did when he went in there.
Right. Way more than what the original 8. So I read a little bit about the case after the fact and learned that Tommy Lee Jones' character actually was going to settle for $4 million. So he went to Lowen and said, just give me $4
Yeah, because they never showed us what the offers that were written down were. We never got to see the offers.
The second one they said was 75. We don't know what the first one was. Because Journey Smollett or one of them goes, you really gonna turn down $75 million? And they were like, yeah, we out of here. So originally, O'Keefe was going to say, just give me $5 million. It says, with days to go before the opening of the trial, O'Keefe made a settlement offer to Lowen Group for $4 million, but it was rejected. So they could have this could have been squashed for $4 million.
Yeah.
But the Lowen Group was like, nah, we too good for this. And then didn't. And then they had to pay $125 at the end. Or $175.
Absolutely would have paid that.
Like, hello.
And got on wax. And got on like paper that this was agreed upon by all parties.
Listen,
absolutely.
Greed will be your downfall.
I wouldn't have scammed an entire community of people, but also if I was thrust into the position,
right? He could have paid it.
I would absolutely. Greed would never be my downfall.
Listen,
my villain origin story. I will have a different defeat, but it won't be my own greed.
They could have paid $4 million and kept being scammers. Instead,
exactly.
they paid $175 and eventually went bankrupt. So
yeah.
That's what they deserve. Look at them getting what they deserve.
Exactly what they deserve.
Anything else we want to say about the movie?
I think he used 40% of the funds to give out to Black families that were affected by the case.
There was a title card at the end that said that the O'Keefe family set up a fund that helped like the poor and Black communities that they served in. So and one thing that is probably the best note about this whole situation is that the O'Keefe family is still one of the largest, it's still operating. So as of 2023, Bradford O'Keefe Funeral Home Incorporated continues to operate as an independent family-owned company on the Mississippi Gulf Coast. So they survived and Lowen Group did not.
Yeah.
Justice.
So final thoughts about the movie and our rating. Worth the theater? Sure. That Robert Downey Jr. movie about him being a lawyer defending his dad, who was also a lawyer.
Oh, the father? No.
That went to theaters.
The dad? No. I know what you're talking about.
No, not his real dad. He had a real dad movie, but before
that was a documentary.
He had a fake dad movie before
with Anthony Hopkins? Somebody famous played his dad.
Some older guy.
Yeah.
Older white guy. Went to theaters, so this could have went to theaters.
It did for a little bit.
Yeah.
But would you have watched it in theaters?
No, I didn't go see the Robert Downey Jr. one. I'm just saying, is it worth the theater? Sure.
Okay. I'll give it that. You know what? Any movie can technically be in a theater. Would I have watched it in the theater? I don't think so.
No.
It gave me streaming movie, but it is a feel good movie to kind of sit at home and enjoy with the family.
This is excellent classroom theater cinema.
Wow.
This is great classroom.
Do we
cinema.
have a subgenre that we this is in?
Remember the Titans is classroom cinema.
Lean on Me,
Stand By Me, Breakfast Club, Sister Act,
Tiffany's,
Dangerous Minds,
Tiffany Breakfast Club. I know what you're talking about.
This is all.
Yeah.
This is classroom. These are movies we've seen in school.
You're right. I'm not gonna hold
because the teacher really just needed a day to grade papers.
What was the
Roots is not classroom cinema.
They show Roots in school, so don't. I mean, you might be too young for that, but they show
a different time. They're not playing Roots in school
and
now.
Queenie, come on.
They're not playing Roots and Queenie.
I saw Queenie in English class, sir. Just that I ain't dating myself with it. I could probably date myself with that.
This is Crooklyn.
Hey, hold up.
Crooklyn was great, but Crooklyn was classroom cinema.
No, I don't know about that one.
Crooklyn was classroom cinema. That's where I first saw Crooklyn.
That don't mean that's classroom cinema because that's where you saw it.
And Crooklyn is one of my favorite movies of all time. But it's one of those. I rebuke. This is Lackawanna Blues.
You ain't watching that in school.
I mean, you wouldn't, but I mean, this is classroom cinema.
All the movies you named was cool, and then we gotta pause the brakes and pump the brakes at Crooklyn. I'm sorry.
I'm trying to think of another one.
No, don't let it be no classic.
There's a lot that fall into this
Although a lot of
genre.
the ones that you named are classic.
Yeah, like
trying to think of something that's not black.
I mean,
would be
Stand and Deliver isn't black.
Would you say Stand By Me? That's not black.
No, that's well, Stand By Me kind of. Stand By Me kind of, yeah.
The West Side Story? No, that's not.
No, because that's like a musical.
You're right. That's not depicting something that could actually happen in real life. Nobody's singing that much on a day-to-day basis. I mean, I'll give you Crooklyn only because it's so good and all kids need to see it. So sure, I'll leave it there. But the quality-wise, not the same.
Oh, I mean, yeah, it's kind of like I'm looking up.
Don't shrug your shoulders.
I'm looking up movies similar to Stand and Deliver.
What is Stand? Have I seen Stand?
That's Jaime. This is Freedom Writers.
Fair. What's that? The Great Debaters.
This is the Great Debate. This is Good Will Hunting.
Oh, that might be a little. Yeah, that's like high school. That ain't middle school.
Okay, high school.
I feel like Good Will Hunting might be a high school social studies class movie.
Yeah, this is a Hilary Swank movie.
Which
Lean
one?
on Me, not Stand By Me.
Okay, I was like
Lean on Me.
Yes,
This is Lean on Me.
Yeah.
I'll
give you. That's a good movie though. I mean,
good movie,
classic.
but yeah.
I'm trying to think what other movies I saw in class that like.
You're right. The Great Debaters is on here. This is Akilah and the Bee.
You're right. You're not.
So that's just. I don't want to go too far down this rabbit hole, but
you're putting it in that subgenre of.
This
movies.
is genre of classroom cinema. I'm pioneering classroom cinema.
Okay.
This is put this. If you're a teacher.
And you need to grade some papers.
And you got a spare day that you need something to watch the kids.
There you go.
This is something you put on
now,
TV.
do know that there is some cussing in here.
So you got to pause if like the
principal come by.
The principal or y'all got like visitors to the building.
Right.
You're going to have to pause or have something to flick it onto on the previous channel button when they come in.
You have to get up and act like you're teaching for a second.
But I mean, it's only like 45 minutes. How long are classes?
I have no idea.
45 minutes. I don't know what a typical grade school child's
we are far removed
course schedule looks like, but I mean, you're not gonna get through the whole 2-hour movie,
right?
So
yeah, it fine subgenre classroom
cinema.
Classroom cinema. We have to write that down next time we come across.
But yeah, I would recommend it for that. I don't think it's a bad movie. I do think it's a good movie. I think. There was talks about it. I probably had a limited theatrical release, so they could be for some type of awards consideration.
That's usually what they do.
I don't think it's an award-winning movie, but there are good performances. For
Jamie and Tommy, yes. Everybody else, thank you for coming.
Yeah.
We'll put it that way.
I mean, I don't think Tommy deserves a nomination for acting.
No, but when we compare levels of acting, I feel like he is like Jamie is way up here. Tommy's a little bit below because he doesn't, Tommy doesn't have to be as charismatic or whatnot. He's playing a good funeral home director, old man. I mean, I put one of my notes is this 2 hours of watching Tommy Lee Jones being fascinated by color people. That was funny because there were scenes there were just scenes of him sitting and watching black people talk or do stuff. There is a particular scene where Tommy Lee Jones' character hears, I can't even think of what song it is for the first time. I can't remember what song it is. He's like tapping his feet and stuff off beat like a typical older white man would do the first time he hears some like popular black song. Mm-hmm. He did that well. Yeah. That was pretty. And I was like, I know Tommy Jones probably heard this before. So the fact that he got to act like he hasn't is pretty funny. Yeah. But so it's them two at the top. And then everybody else kind of trickles down like a little rain shower. Yeah. All the way to the bottom after that. So awards contender, I don't know. But there was some good acting here. Yeah. There was some good acting. All right. Anything else we got to say about The Burial other than you should check it out? No, you should check it out. All right. It's on Prime. So yes. Everybody named Mama got Amazon's Prime, so just turn to the video section. And it is a 2 hour and 6 minute runtime, but it feels like an hour and a half movie. True. It does not feel long at all. That first hour to me kind of flew by. Yeah, it feels like an hour and a half. This is like a quick
pop a bag of popcorn flick.
Absolutely. I agree.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So our next episode, we got a double feature popping.
Yes.
We are reviewing Loki season 2, whole season, and we are reviewing the Marvels. I don't know how much news we about to fit in this episode.
It depends on what happens, because if that writer, what's going to happen is
if
the SAG strike ends, we're going to get much more movie news about stuff that's going back into production that we probably haven't even heard of.
Right. I literally, it's Saturday, November 4th.
I do want to get the first couple episodes of Invincible in so we can do our first impressions. I definitely think we should do an end of the season
review
cover on Invincible.
Okay. I think
the first 3 episodes are out, and then it's week to week.
Mm-hmm. Okay. I'm gonna watch those. I just thought they were doing week to week. I didn't know it was all 3.
I believe it's the first 3.
Okay, definitely watch. Invincible recommendation. Invincible, if you have not seen it, highly recommend. Watch season 1. It's not long. No,
it's all on Amazon, so you can binge animated. All of season 1. It's all animated.
If you like The Boys, you would like Invincible. It's just I won't say it's just it's not as Invincible doesn't have that crude sexual humor at all. But
it is gory.
It is very gory, but it's cartoon gore.
Yes,
so
but it's not crude humor. No.
Yeah, right. You can watch a little cartoon.
So yeah, next episode, season 2 breakdown for Loki,
which has been not a spoiler for Loki season 2, but I am enjoying this season way more than I'm enjoying season 1. This season got the ball rolling from the beginning. This kind of just been a roller coaster ride from the beginning. Every
for season
episode.
2. The Marvels, absolutely interested in, absolutely excited for.
I'm crossing my fingers. I just hope it's really good.
I saw a clip, the 1:15 clip of the fight sequence.
Did I watch that one? I think I did watch. There was one clip I came by and just kept
There's
scrolling.
A clip of the 1:15 clip of a fight sequence between Captain Marvel.
Oh, with Nick Fury
and Kamala.
Yes.
And they're fighting like Kree. The jump between Kamala's house and it looks like the sword ship in space.
Mm-hmm.
Really excited about the action sequences now. Because I wasn't sure, because I just didn't see enough action from the trailers.
They have been slowly pushing out stuff as we get in. I mean, we are within a week, so now they starting to, and the ticket sales are not great.
Yeah.
So they really starting to push out. I have it muted, so I don't see it unless you send it to me.
Yeah, that little clip convinced me that we're gonna get some really good action.
Yeah, it looks like it'll be a very colorful movie.
Yeah, it looks like it's going in the Ragnarok direction as far as color.
And I like the visual appeal. That's what a Ragnarok.
Yeah, that's what turned people around on Thor was that color scheme.
It's funny. I did see a YouTube ad for the Marvels, and there's a scene apparently where Tiana Paris looks like she double fisted with some alcohol, and Fury is like, "What are you doing?" I was like, "Okay, it's gonna be funny. It's gonna have action. It's gonna be a nice visual appeal." I'm excited.
Yeah. So next episode, Loki, the Marvels, a little bit of Invincible, and whatever else madness that happens place. Hopefully there's no more exposés.
7 days. Hopefully not, because Twitter just goes ablaze, and sometimes I have to be like, let me put my phone down for this. But yeah, thanks for listening. You can follow us on Twitter. You can follow us on our website. You can leave a review on our website, and you can also leave a voicemail. So don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe.
All right, and until next time,
peace.